Dun 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 dun.
Wow.
Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of Beauty and the Bitch. My name is Mick.
And I'm Morgan.
And today we are talking about Game of Thrones.
On the real, though, when we decided to tackle Game of Thrones, we were like, we're just gonna take the whole chunk from start to like current and just do the damn thing. And then when the next season comes out, which is this summer, we'll do a season recap and it'll be a lot less stressful. But holy shit, is there so much to cover.
This is definitely the most research I've done for an episode so far. I think I would say solidly 6 or 7 hours of like pulling stuff together. Because like, you remember, I'm all over the place with how I took in this show and this series.
Yeah.
And I skipped stuff here and there. And so I had to do a lot of rewatch stuff. I watched probably like 25 YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Not to brag, but
I watched 0 YouTube videos.
Ha!
But whatever you did, I did it like 10% more because I'm so much better.
Oh.
Yeah. You know how it is. So if you did 7 hours, I probably did like 7.5 hours.
Oh,
But,
okay.
No, but I did really do a ton of research, and it's so interesting about Game of Thrones because the way that I got into it was, I think several seasons had already been out. It was already in the pop culture zeitgeist. People were talking about it. I'd definitely heard of the books. I had friends who had read the series, which is called A Song of Ice and Fire, by the way. It is not called Game of Thrones. That is just the title of the first book.
Don't embarrass yourself at book people.
Oh,
okay.
please.
They'll laugh at you.
Please don't. So, it was already out. I don't know what the happenstance was. I certainly didn't have HBO and was not paying for that. I think what happened is that Sarah's dad had purchased them on DVD.
Oh, I remember that.
And we were living together at the time. And so I think because sometimes she'll go home to her parents' house and she'll just come back with like a carload full of like fun things for us to play with, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And one time it was the Game of Thrones DVD collection.
Sarah's dad should definitely be listening to this podcast. Are you listening right now?
Except for the stuff about like anything sex or like vulgar language. But
oh,
like,
girl, he knows we're grown.
But like the fantasy content, he would definitely.
He's a big fantasy nerd.
Yes, we love you, Marky. Come on the podcast.
Yes, you're invited.
So, whatever, it was there, and I just started tuning into season 1. I don't know, maybe we were all watching it together. I'm sure Aaron was there, and I was like, "This is really fucking good. I need to go get the books immediately." So, went straight out, bought the first book. Was simultaneously watching season 1 while reading the book, and like the storylines kept like crossing, and that was kind of interesting or whatever. And then I finished the show before I finished the book. So to my horror, fucking Ned Stark got beheaded, and I immediately like was in shock because I was like, in the book especially, loved him so hard.
Oh yeah.
And was just like, there's just no way, right? And so then I like feverishly read the rest of the book and was just like in tears over like what became just any old fucking death. He'll kill any motherfucker.
Oh yeah. He definitely primes you right off the bat. You know, no one is safe. Don't feel safe. Lock up your children. Lock up your wives because they're killing.
Donuts.
And your donuts, especially, because everyone is on the chopping block.
Yum. So here's a little bit of dates for you about the books in case you were wondering the history of them. The very first one of Game of Thrones came out in the year 1996, followed by A Clash of Kings, 1998, A Storm of Swords, 2000. Here's where a little gap starts to happen. A Feast for Crows, 2005. And then a big old gap. A Dance with Dragons came out in 2011. We are currently still waiting for 2 promised books to come out to finish the series. The next one, The Winds of Winter, which is listed as forthcoming, was promised to be here at the end of 2015. Where it's at? Where it's at, George?
He's been busy making books of maps and books of secondary characters and writing episodes and combing his beard.
Every time I see some fucking shit that he's put out, I literally, like, want to, like, tear the entire display down. Because, like, what the fuck is he doing with this time that he's written a companion book for the TV show and he couldn't finish the fucking Winds of Winter, which I have been, like, waiting for?
He also wrote a Game of Thrones cookbook.
Oh my, no he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know. He might though. He
but
would.
now
I
that you
could
say
see
it's
it.
a really good idea.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, there's some delicious
like roast
looking
turkey,
food.
like
Boar.
whatever.
We have to have some boar.
So the final book that's also forthcoming is called A Dream of Spring, which I think is kind of a sweet title to round it out. Mm-hmm. You know, winter's coming, but we got dreams of spring on the horizon.
You know, it's funny. I know that Game of Thrones fans are some of the most passionate fans, but you are certainly not alone in also sort of like throwing as much hate as love at Martin for being such a slow writer. Like, I've heard him say lots of things about, like, are they my fans, or...
or do we secretly fucking hate him?
Exactly. Well, it's kind of the question,
though. It's a really tedious relationship between, like, an author and their fans, because you really need to manage their expectations, which is something he's not good at. Because in the beginning, it kind of came out strong. 2 years between fantasy books. We understand that.
Yeah, and they're big.
They're understandable. Yeah. Oh my god, they're so big. That's what she said. So 2 years is fine, but, you know, the more and more distance you get between the books, the angstier we get. And then, of course, if you're writing other books and, like, starting other endeavors, when you've already told us the titles and he's even offered some teaser chapters, it's really, really frustrating, so... You
said the first one came out in 98?
96.
96?
Yeah, it's been a long time
so
coming.
If you read the first one on the week that it came out, you've been waiting over 20 years.
Damn. And you know, here's what happened. So, A Dance with Dragons, which it might be my favorite book in the series. I have not reread them, just to let you guys know.
Is that the fourth book?
That's the fifth one.
Oh, that's the fifth one. Okay.
The fourth book is the worst fucking book I've ever read in my life.
That's the one that killed my love for the series, yeah.
The fourth book... He did this thing where the fourth and fifth book were originally like one book maybe, or it was just like one big story arc. And so then he wanted to break it up, but the only way he could feasibly do it, he felt, was to separate character stories. So in the fourth book, you get all the worst character stories. You don't get an ounce of Daenerys in book 4.
And is there Tyrion? Tyrion's the only good part of book 4, right?
It's probably very vaguely in there then, because
I think it's mostly the Onion Knight.
Ugh, I remember every page turning, being like, and then the next chapter is Dany? Because every chapter is a character's name to let you know, like, this is their chapter. And every chapter just kept going by, like, hoping and hoping and hoping that, like, Sansa's ass would go away.
I was gonna say,
and that we would get
Sansa
something
chapter.
good. Oh my god, it was terrible. But then it did not disappoint, I felt, with A Dance with Dragons, which was, like, almost all Dany.
You know what, though? I totally agree with you. Except that I had a slightly different experience because I just, like, trolled through book 4.
It was hard.
It was hard, yeah. I said trolled. I meant trolled, but also that's kind of a weird...
I
was trolling. I was trolling, girl. I hated it. I hated
trolling.
By the time I got to book 5, which I believe you let me borrow, or someone let me borrow, I was over it. Like, I was sincerely over it.
You know, that's the gamble that you take when you alienate half of your storyline. You're going to lose interest. You're going to lose some people. But back to what I was saying. Here's what happened. It came out, A Dance with Dragons came out in 2011. You know what else premiered in 2011? HBO's Game of Thrones.
Oh.
April 17th, 2011. So what happened is, he was like, oh, look at all this money I'm going to make. Instead of having to write a book, I can just help rewrite scripts for stories I already created and just, like, watch my bank account fill up. And he got distracted, and that's easier probably. And at this point, the show has surpassed where the books have left off. So at this fucking point, I'm sure he's like, well, whatever, who gives a shit? But you know who gives a shit? It's me and, like, millions of other fucking people.
All the book lovers, yeah. But he's pulling back from the shows now, right? Because I
don't know.
I read that, I hope this isn't untrue, that he didn't direct any episodes in the last 2 seasons, whereas he had directed 1 episode of each of the seasons before. I was going to say,
I didn't know he directed any episodes, so that's new information.
I don't know which ones, I'm afraid, but I did read, I think it was on some wiki somewhere, God, who knows.
Wiki?
Yeah, exactly. That he had directed 1 episode of each of the first 4 seasons. So he seems to be pulling back a bit, so he'd make that companion novel and the cookbook.
Fuck that. No shade, but lots of shade at George R. R. Martin.
Fuck that, yeah.
But seriously, fuck that. So, as you might be aware, Game of Thrones, the TV show, is hugely popular. And I don't know if it started out that way or if it took a season or 2 to build because, like I said, I came to the game late. But you can't go anywhere without people talking about Game of Thrones. And it's one of those shows where, like, every episode is going to have spoilers at the end of it. So if you don't watch it the night of, like, if you're like me and you watch HBO Go or whatever, you can't be on the internet. You can't talk to people. You can't look at humans on the street. Like, your shit will be spoiled. You'll see the tears in their eyes. They're, like, freshly, like, minted, like, Jon Snow is dead tattoos.
I feel really bad for the people who, for whatever reason, didn't get to watch the Red Wedding episode in real time. Because, there was no way that didn't get spoiled for them. Because everyone...
That's, like...
who didn't know it was coming exploded.
That's one of the most iconic things in television ever, I think, that's happened. It's just, like, so crazy. Which, if you read the books, you expected it to come, but also seeing it actually play out it's hurtful.
Made my heart hurt.
So, like I said, it's very popular, but I thought I'd hit you with a couple of statistics that I read. Game of Thrones is the most watched show in history for the year 2016, and there were several other years, and they expected it to continue on for that as well. Just the amount of people that watch it is insane. In 2016, it was the most illegally downloaded show on record. Not surprising, because HBO is kind of expensive, and if you don't have a rich friend or somebody's parent to steal a login from, which is what I do,
you should get a sugar daddy, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, I remember being
bitch.
so distraught that I didn't have a hookup with HBO until I just kept asking people until somebody just like gave me their shit. So that's what I recommend if you're struggling with Game of Thrones. Just ask every fucking person. Somebody will let you do it. Season 6 finale had over 10.7 million viewers. 10.7 million. It was the most amount of viewers in Game of Thrones history, but it just significantly gets higher and higher with every season finale because there's just so much going on, and I think this last season was really good, personally.
But that's only... Oh, I do too. 100%. That's only the people who watched it in real time, right? That doesn't account everyone who watched it after, and all the
billions of people who illegally download it. Yeah.
The illegal... By illegals, I mean illegal watchers online.
Yes. Stay away.
Yes, go away. Not welcome.
So, anyways, that's crazy, and just the amount of people that watch is just insane. Is really all that I have to say about that.
What do you think it is What do you think it is about it that makes it so widely loved?
Well, I mean, for me, being a lover of fantasy, for me, that was originally the appeal. For a lot of people, I think just because it's on HBO, there's a certain appeal. Because of sex and content and language and...
Violence.
People
love violence.
But people also love magic. So
I
just feel like there's a huge range of people who tune in for, like, whatever reason. And because it's on HBO, they have such freedom to do whatever they want that it's really good, and their budget is really big.
I think money is a big part. They just like throw fistfuls of money at Game of Thrones, which I'm not mad about. I mean,
at their cast rat parties, instead of like dropping balloons or confetti, it's just like dollar bills.
I've never seen $1,000 bill before.
Love it. So, like we said, there's way too much information to cover. So what we did to break down kind of how we got to where we're at today is kind of our top 45 most iconic things that have happened in the show.
And see, what I wanted to do was do a minute-by-minute breakdown in which we analyzed each scene of the show.
We're going to be here forever.
Yes, but we're talking... This is for the fans, Morgan. Morgan shot it down because she has a job. Loser.
I'm such a loser. So bear with us here while we go through our top 45 things, and we'll just chat it out.
Yeah, and we'll try to move it along. We're going to believe in ourselves.
Yeah, and it
There's
is
a lot,
in
though.
mostly chronological order. And sorry, we didn't say this already, but in case you didn't know, spoiler alerts ahead, and also previously for that thing I said about Jon Snow.
We need to, you know what we should do, Morgie, is just make an intro
that just says
spoilers. Because I'm just over. I'm
everything.
sorry, it's all spoilers. That's all we do is talk about spoilers.
Welcome back to Beauty and the Spoiler.
Exactly.
So, Game of Thrones kicked off immediately with an iconic moment. Bran gets pushed out of the window. So this happens in the very first episode, the pilot episode of Game of Thrones. Cersei and Jaime were having sex or doing some sex shit, and Bran, the little climber that he is, comes upon them, And Jaime Lannister famously, they stand there, they don't know what to do about him. And Jaime grabs him and says, "The things I do for love," and just chunks him from the window.
It's really, he falls very beautifully. It's a very graceful fall.
I really like Bran.
I like Bran a lot too. I don't know. I kind of feel like, that was a really indicative way to start Game of Thrones. Because there is so much.
Children are not safe.
Oh, definitely not. No. Lock up your kids. Faux show. But there's so much just random cruelty in Westeros and in this world. You know, you don't have to do anything bad or people don't deserve what happens to them, which I think is one of the ways that Game of Thrones is realistic in a way that a lot of fantasy series are not. And that's one thing I do truly love about it, you know, because bad things do happen to good people. Like one time something bad happened to me, and you know I'm like a saint.
Wow, that was a work of fiction.
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut your mouth!
What a Gollum moment. Oh my god.
Oh my god, wriggling.
So, a lot of things happen in season 1 as well. The next thing on our most iconic moment is the death of Viserys Targaryen.
Which is one of my top 5 most satisfying deaths. I hate that motherfucker.
Yeah, he was the worst. I mean, that actor was incredible, but
he was great.
He was the worst. And did I say his name right? Viserys Targaryen?
I think it's Viserys.
Viserys Targaryen. Anyways.
Vasectomy?
Beautiful name. Horrible, amazing death. So a little background on that. His sister Dany obviously got married off to Khal Drogo, which he was doing as a power play to gain favor with the Khal and his Khalasar so that he could use them in his war on Westeros. Anyways, that shit did not work out in his favor, but he did get his crown, girl.
He sure enough did. A crown of molten gold burned right through his skull. He said, "Oh!"
It was brutal. I loved it.
It was. And it was so... That was the first... I mean, that happens, what, second episode?
Yeah, pretty early on.
It's really, really early. And that was sort of what prepared me to enjoy watching people die, too. Which I have to say, it's not really normal. Like, most shows, you're not really happy when people die, even bad people. Yeah. But I was so ready for him to die. The way he treated his sister, disgusting.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
The number 3 thing on our list is the death of Ned Stark. Through a series of events, Robert Baratheon died, his horrible son Joffrey became king, who is also the son of Jaime Lannister, not actually his son. A bunch of things happened. He's a product of
incest, so that little man needs a chin, is what Joffrey needs.
And poor Ned Stark, trying to do the right thing, be the hand of the king, trying to just, like, do shit. He's always trying to do what's right. He fucking killed Sansa's direwolf over... like, because a lady, like, attacked Joffrey or something, and he did it because it was, quote-unquote, the right thing to do, even though he didn't want to, and it's horrible. And then what's he get? His head fucking chopped off. And Arya watching him was so sad.
Sansa I was less sad for, because she was really annoying at that point, so I was just like, shut up. Yeah. But Arya was heartbreaking. And that actually is one of my top 5 most heartbreaking deaths, is Ned Stark's. Yeah.
Number 4, Renly Baratheon is murdered by Stannis' shadow. So we do see elements of magic and fantasy interspersed in Game of Thrones stuff, but sometimes you do kind of forget. Like, it's just kind of like a period piece. And then you remember, like, oh yeah, some hella fucking witch had sex with Stannis and she birthed like a fucking shadow baby, and he went and murdered his brother. And then leaving Brianna Tarth to run around to be like, no, but y'all, he was murdered by a shadow. And then people think she's legit crazeballs.
They do, and that's not fair because she's already an outsider.
She's already, like, so tall and awkward.
You know, so obviously Renly is sort of secret. He's gay.
So gay.
But in the books, it's less obvious. Like, it took me a long time to pick up on it. In the show, they make it very, very obvious, which I appreciate.
I think I brought a passage in the book to you when I was reading it about Loras and Renly and was like, are they saying sex right now? Is all of this floral language just them, like, fucking? And you were like, yes, girl.
Yes, queen, they're getting it.
It, like, really blew my mind, because it was very subtle in the book.
It was. And there are lots of, like, rando kind of queer characters in the book, but in the TV show, really, Loras and
so fruity.
And Renly, yeah, they're the fruit masters.
And they're really cute
own the fruit stand. They're adorable.
I approve of them.
So he almost made my heartbreaking death scene only because he's a gay man. And one of, like pretty much the only main gay man except for Loras. But I always thought that Renly and Brienne together, that's her name, Brienne?
Yes.
I thought they were really cute because they're both like almost like gender and sex outsiders because she's that kind of mannish woman.
Yes. And she was like, she was gonna be the hand of the king if he was king, which was really like gender bendy.
They would have made like
adorable.
the most like gender paradise kingdom ever.
All right, number 5. Daenerys emerges from the fire with 3 dragons draped around her. This was by far the most epic thing that I think happened in season 1. I'm pretty sure it was in season 1. So Daenerys and Khal Drogo were actually super in love, and it was pretty sweet.
So he did rape her initially, I'm sorry.
Well, in the book that happened, but in the show I don't know that it did. Maybe it did. Maybe it happened in the show. But whatever, she learned to love that shit. And they got along fine, and then through a horrible series of events, she traded with some black magic, and he became a fucking vegetable and was basically dead. And then, I don't even remember. But anyways, she put him in a funeral pyre to die.
She smothered him with that pillow. You remember that shit?
Yeah, that was intense.
It was so sad.
And then she picked up her like hardened, solidified dragon's eggs that she received as a gift at her wedding, and she carried them into the fire. And Jorah Mormont looked on with such disdain. And it was really, I mean, I read in the book, so I know that's not what was happening, but it was very emotional. And then when she walks out of that bitch holding fucking dragons like a beast, oh my god, she is queen bee. There is nothing that can stop Dany.
She is the motherfucking mother of dragons.
There is no
other. Bow down.
I love her whole list of like mother of dragons, breaker of chains, all that shit.
Oh, she's so epic.
She's the most fabulous person on TV.
I don't want to talk too much about it because we have a lot to talk about, but I'm so excited for her to finally get to Westeros in this next season. We'll get to talk about that later. So, number 6, Robb Stark is proclaimed king in the North.
Aw, we all wanted him to succeed, sort of, kind of.
Did. Yes. Just for the record, he's on my list for 5 sexiest men. I think that Robb Stark was majorly fuckable. That curly hair. Ugh.
Love it. There is nothing about Robb Stark that I do not love.
There is one. He's not a very good politician. He's a good warrior. He's a good person, but he was a bit of a fool. He was his father's son, I think. You know, because
so noble and beautiful,
kind of, and not good at playing the game. You know. Number 7, Bronn's trial by combat, in which he saves Tyrion from Catelyn Stark. That happens in the Eyrie, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, or maybe it was in like River. It was in that kind of area.
Because he fights that soldier guy and pushes him through the hole. Yeah. That's the first person I think we see fall through the Eyrie hole.
Oh, right, the moon door.
That's why I call your vagina, by the way.
The moon
Eyrie
door?
hole.
Oh, no, can it be the moon door?
The moon door.
So what was so cool about that is that Bronn originally was like a sellsword for Catelyn Stark. She hired him. And then, like you do, he turned on her because he liked Tyrion, because what's not to love? And he saved him, and much to her disdain.
What? I'm sorry. I love Catelyn, but if it's Catelyn versus Tyrion, Tyrion almost all... I love her, but he's always going to come out on top.
Her little vendetta, like, I felt for it, but also, like, no...
She was hella cooler in the books.
Oh, she was. Yeah, it's true.
Number 8. Theon Greyjoy takes Winterfell.
Ugh, Theon Greyjoy is like the fucking worst, but also at the same time, like later you can't help but feel bad for him. Kind of the whole time. And I read an interesting thing that George R.R. Martin said Theon Greyjoy is his favorite character in Game of Thrones because of kind of his emotional story arc, and because you hate him, but you also like feel really bad for him.
So I have to admit something to you. I never hated Theon.
Oh,
He's actually one of my favorite characters. And he, to me, I know this is weird, but he is the number 1 sexiest guy in the show to me. Not now. He's all broken and sad now. Back when he had his D.
I don't even understand what you're saying at me right now.
I can't explain. There's just something about... I can't... You know what? I'll tell you what probably
Number 1?
He's broken, and I like that.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to talk about this offline.
He's my number 1.
We gotta go to therapy. This is bad.
So Theon takes over Winterfell. It's not his best moment, but he gets what's coming to him.
He does.
Oh, and it's next, actually. Number 9, Ramsay Bolton cuts off Theon's dick and then eats a sausage.
And like pretends that it's his dick, or maybe it's his dick. It's very
He
ambiguous.
kind of deep throats it a little bit too, or maybe that's just in my mind.
That was so horrible, and he did that because, well, he's Ramsay Bolton and he's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Oh, where does he fall on your sexy meter? Is he up there? He's like number 2.
You know.
You want like a threesome with Theon Greyjoy and Ramsay Bolton?
You know what? Until I got to know his character, I thought he was. I think that actor is very attractive.
Okay.
But no, his character. I can do broken. I can't do psychotic and sociopathic
so
murderer
I
rapist.
think psychopathic for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
No, he's a monster.
I read that he auditioned for, I think, Robb Stark and Jon Snow, and they liked him, but they couldn't find a place for him. And then they were like, "Oh, you're perfect. Do you want to be the world's most hated character?" And he was like, "Yeah."
He's even worse in the books, though. I think Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah, the flayed men in general are a lot more graphic in the books. So when people talk about how graphic the show is, it is. But sometimes I can't help but remember the scenes in the book that I had to, like, skip paragraphs or, like, skim and, like, not look at too closely.
Do you remember, because in the book he has a first wife before he takes on fake Sansa.
Yeah.
And he essentially gets her for pride, and then he locks her in a tower, and she starves to death. And when they open up the door, they see that she's dead. She's long dead, and she's eaten her own fingertips.
Ugh.
Yeah, girl! He's horrible.
That's horrible.
He's horrible. And then number 10 is the battle at Blackwater, which you might remember because there are tons of huge green wildfire explosions all over the place.
So that was the coolest part of that battle. And honestly, for me, that battle doesn't super stick in my head otherwise besides that. And then also because that's when Podrick Payne kind of became really cool. Because he was Tyrion's, like, what's it called? Like a squire.
Like a little friend.
And then, like, somebody tried to kill Tyrion, right? And then he saved Tyrion. And then, like, ever since then, he's been, like, building himself up. And now he's just kind of, like, cute little squire that, like, somehow, like, has a big dick and gets all the girls. But, like, also is just, like, a quiet little, like, sidekick.
Is that a thing? Does he have a big dick?
Yes! Like, in the show, he, like, they're at, like, a whorehouse or something, like, Littlefingers. And, like, all the girls are like, Podrick, ooh, and they're, like, talking about him. And everybody's like, what?
I will look at his character with new eyes now. Yes. That's also where Tyrion gets his massive scar, right?
Yeah, like when somebody tried to kill him, yeah.
Which is much more disfiguring in the book. So I understand why they did less for the TV.
He, like, gets his whole nose
like, his nose is, and it's like an open hole thing.
Gross. Yeah. Number 11. This is one of my favorite things that ever happened. The Purple Wedding.
Yeah.
So this is when Joffrey was being wed to Marjorie through a series of events where Sansa was discarded and then wed to Tyrion, which she gracefully accepted so she wouldn't be murdered, but also then did not take advantage of her or force anything upon her and really was just a total straight up nice dude about it. So Marjorie, who is a fierce lady, kind of had her shit under control and was like, yes, I'll marry you, but secretly was plotting his demise with, I think, a whole bunch of people, including the Queen of Thorns, Littlefinger, whatever. And so basically they have their wedding and it's cute or whatever. I don't know, I guess. Joffrey's the fucking worst.
Joffrey ruins everything.
And then he gets poisoned and he chokes to death on, like, I guess this poison, and his throat swells up and then he turns purple. And in the books, doesn't he, like, scratch? Yeah, he, like, rips his throat open with the scratching. But in the show, it's just, like, him pleading with his mother, crying over him. While Marjorie's like, oh no, I'm so sad. She was like every woman in that moment. It was amazing.
I love that he didn't get to be beautiful in death. I really appreciate it because he had such a horrifying death. It was one of my top 5 favorite deaths. So satisfying.
Yeah, so satisfying.
And I'm so glad he didn't, like, get to die in combat or die in a cool way.
Right.
You know, he died by poison. It was ugly and he threw up in front of everyone. He deserves it. I'll hide him.
Which brings us to number 12, Tyrion's trial for killing Joffrey, which his girlfriend / lover partner, Shay, gives false evidence against him at the trial, which was so sad. And she had her reasons, but they weren't very good, in my opinion. And she gets hers later. But the trial was really interesting and like built up, and so it was a really good moment to see it, and also for Tyrion to be so down because of Shay was really different for him, because everybody gets him down, but like he loved her and he trusted her.
And that's when Tyrion has that speech where he's like, I didn't kill Joffrey, but I wish I had. I killed all you motherfuckers, right?
He did. It was so great.
I love it. Yeah, he goes off.
Yeah. So that was great. And then that brings us to number 13, the Mountain versus the Viper. So he opted for trial by combat, which, yeah, of course. And then he was able to do so because Prince Oberyn from Dorne was there, and he volunteered to fight because he knew the opponent would be the Mountain, and the Mountain famously killed Prince Oberyn's sister, Ilaria, back in the day when she was married to Rhaegar Targaryen, and they came through and wiped out. They just regicided that whole fucking monarchy, and the Mountain, like, it was brutal, like, bashed their babies' heads into the ground, and, like, raped her and murdered her. So he wanted to kill this motherfucker. So that was an epic battle.
That's one of the best battles. I love the Red Viper, all his little choreography, his little flips and his dashes.
He's so dainty.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty sexy until the Mountain crushed his skull right in front of me.
That's one of the most brutal things that has happened.
That's the number one most horrifying death, in my opinion. As far as, like, visceral makes me shriek and cover my eyes.
And they did not shield you. They didn't do a quick take. They were like, here's his entire exploded skull and brains all over the ground. But not before he got a stab in, and he had a spear with, like, the poison, because Dorne is famous for, like, poison. So he stabbed the Mountain, so the Mountain becomes very ill at the very end of the fight, but obviously not before he horrifyingly crushes his skull open. And so Tyrion thinks he's gonna win, and then when he loses and he becomes, like, sentenced to death, essentially, it was, that whole scene, just intense. Which brings us to number 14. Tyrion kills Tywin on the toilet.
One of my top 5 most satisfying deaths.
Yes! So, Tyrion escapes his cell with the help of Varys. Varys?
I say Varys, but you know, girl, who knows?
Whatever. He escapes his cell with the help of Varys, who I think is fabulous.
Love Varys. I mean, anytime you throw in a eunuch, I'm down.
Oh, his meddling. I can't get enough of it, honestly. Him and Littlefinger. I love them. They're like the best frenemies in the world. I love them.
Between the two of them, they probably know everything.
It's for real.
Like, literally everything.
So, Varys helps him escape, and instead of, like, going on his merry little way like he is advised, he's like, nah, bro, I gotta make a quick stop. Because he knows that his dad is the reason that he is being sentenced to murder. Goes up in that piece, sees Shay shacked up with Tywin, like the little fucking whore that she is, kills that bitch.
Literally. I mean, she literally is a prostitute.
Kills her with a baller-ass chain around her neck.
That's what she wanted, that chain.
Oh, it was the hand of the king, right? Yeah, he kills her with that. And then he proceeds to shoot Tywin while he's taking a dump and kill that motherfucker.
I loved that because, like the death of Joffrey, Tywin was not as horrible, but he was not great at all. I mean, after all, he raised all the Lannisters. You know, he's the patriarch. He was not a nice man at all. He treated Tyrion awfully.
So terribly.
And I love that he got to die in such an undignified way. I hope there was a turd hanging out his butt when he died.
I sure there was.
I hope so.
Number 15, Jaime loses his hand. Jaime Lannister is famously an excellent swordsman, the Kingslayer, just a huge person in battle, hand of the king. Well, one hand short these days.
And you know, little known fact, that was the hand he masturbated with.
Oh, no!
I know! Insult to injury.
Oh, it's so sad.
He's back to humping pillows.
So a bunch of stuff happened. Jaime's out on a mission or whatever and gets his hand cut off. And then either, like, he's with Brienne, I think, and it kind of strengthens their friendship, which I'm a fan of. And frankly, gives him some more dimension, because before he was just kind of this unstoppable, really good person with, like, fighting and such. So I like...
Not ethically. Ethically, he's a bundle of troubles.
Roll back. But I don't know. I think that changed the game for him, and I've liked what his story arc has been since then.
Me too. It made him more interesting. So number 16, most iconic moment of the show, in more or less chronological order, Arya walks away to leave the Hound for dead. Now, this is after he gets into a fight with Brienne, right?
In the show, yes. In the book, it was a different thing. But yes, that's what happened in the show.
Which is really important because this whole time Arya has had the Hound on her list of to kill.
Yeah.
And then she decides not to kill him. Why do you think she does that?
Because she wanted him to suffer.
That's what I thought too. It wasn't a mercy. She literally wanted him to die the most painful way
She was like,
possible.
you don't deserve it. And she assumed he would die slowly, which he didn't, which we'll find out later. But
exactly.
Yeah, so that was just a really good moment. It was a really powerful scene, I felt like, because he was begging her to kill him. Yeah. And she had every chance to do it. And she was just like, no.
She just snatched his purse and ran.
Oh, she's a snitch snatch. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either, but I like it. It's got a nice rhythm. You old snitch snatch. But you know, though, it kind of surprised me. Well, it shows how hard Arya is and is becoming
hardened.
And has become. Hardened, yes. Also tumescent and rigid. Yes. Because at this point, I really liked the Hound. Like, what I'd seen...
I was in and out of him. But yeah, I was on the side of, like, I liked having him around anyways. I did not want him dead.
Yes, exactly. So, I don't know. I was kind of surprised by that. But I support her. So, anyway, Arya tries to become a girl who has no name. That's number 17. And the people who have no name are essentially assassins. Like, assassin/spy/ faint magic users.
Yeah, all of those things. It's very ambiguous, but she gets that coin from
Mr. Do Guy, Mr. Lots of Tricks.
Yeah. She gets a coin from him, and I really liked that guy. He's
cool.
And she learns the words Valar Morghulis, and she charters her way over to that fucking little island, whatever that place is called. I can't remember, and thinks that, because she wants to be done with it. But as we learn, a girl cannot be done with it because a girl is Arya Stark.
That's true, and she becoming a woman.
I love Arya.
I do too. She's probably my favorite Stark. Left alive anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
so then, number 18, Dany burns the slave masters and frees the slaves.
With one word, Dracarys.
Ooh, girl, you made me all hot. My insides tingled.
It was amazing because I don't know how well you remember it, but she essentially, the slave masters wanted to trade one of her dragons for like a chunk of slaves or something, and she agrees to, and all of her advisors are like, oh, but Dany, no. And she's like, I got this shit, you guys. And then when she gives him the dragon, she just says that one word, Dracarys, and then they just light shit up, and she takes those slaves for her own, and she frees them, and she wins over their hearts.
Is that the, first of all, epic moment. Is that the Unsullied? Are those the slaves we're talking about, or is that later?
No, it is the Unsullied, isn't it? Yeah, because I think she gets Grey Worm and Missandei out of the... Oh, but... Missandei wasn't Unsullied. Anyways, it was probably them.
Remember when they cut that scene where they cut off the Unsullied guy's nipple?
Yes,
that hurt my feelings.
Yeah, to just show like how obedient they...
He was so pretty. Ugh. I was like, stop messing that man up.
I think Grey Worm is really pretty. Do you like him?
I don't even know who that is.
He's her Unsullied, like...
Oh,
person.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, he is gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah.
So number 19 is the biggin. It's the big boy. It's the Red Wedding.
Intense.
Which I think will surprise no one is my number one sort of saddest death. I just smushed everything
because it was just like everyone dies all at once.
Pow, 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 pow. For me, I mean, of course, I loved Robb, so I was sad to see the end of Robb. His little wife, who she doesn't die in the books, and there's no child in the books either.
Right.
But they stab her in the belly and then kill her. But for me, it was Catelyn, who was the most heartbreaking.
I don't know if you remember in the book, but the way they described when they cut her throat, it was like sawing through like the bones, and she was like still staying alive because she was like living to save that kid. Like she loves her family so hard.
She's such an epic mom. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then like her brother Edmure and like whatever, he's like upstairs, and then they hold him hostage, and he's just like up there and doesn't even fucking know his entire family is being slaughtered.
And his king.
And his people. Yeah.
What's his name? The boat, the gray fish.
No, that's her. That's her uncle.
That's a different guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who fuck Edmure?
That's her brother.
What he done?
Not much.
See,
that's why they married his
ass. This is why we had to research for 80 hours. There's so many fucking characters.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember old Edmure. But number 20, Stannis comes to battle the wildlings. This was a really good moment in the show, I thought.
Yeah, because first of all, Stannis is so boring. Yes. And I do love, what's his little guy's name?
That the Onion Knight?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I like him a lot.
Davos.
Seaworth, yes. Mm-hmm. I like Davos. And Davos is sweet to Shireen, Stannis' little daughter. But good God, is Stannis' storyline fucking boring. So whenever we intermingled his storyline with something else interesting, that was, thank God, because I couldn't do it.
I mean, the best part of his storyline, I thought, was Melisandre, because she was so, she seemed so evil and magical.
Easily the best part. So he comes to battle the wildlings, and he saves, or he helps the Night's Watch, essentially, right? And then he doesn't do it for nothing. He asks for a lot in return.
Oh, shit, yeah. I don't remember all the stuff he asked for. It's like a list.
Yeah, but that was epic. Because
well, he needs a lot at that point.
Because they kind of thought all was lost, and then Stannis shows up with an army, so that was nice. Yeah. Number 21, The Battle for the Wall. Ygritte dies. So Jon Snow had this whole story arc where he went off to live with the wildlings to kind of like learn some shit and like maybe kill Mance Rayder. And he did it on the orders of the Lord Commander, who was then murdered by his own people, and was just, that shit was fucking horrible. So Jon did what he had to do, and he fell in love with Ygritte. At first he got with her just to be like, yeah, look, I'm one of you guys. But then he fell in love with her, and I love Ygritte. She is amazing. Like, definitely one of the most, like, dateable women on the show. Out of all the ladies you could choose from, like, she's pretty cool.
You have a thing for the battle ladies, don't you? Because you really, Eowyn was your, like, heart as well. I mean, that's so. Love. I also love her. I don't think, how could anyone not love her?
She's fabulous.
Yeah.
So, but they get separated when Jon's like, nah, bitch, I gotta go back to the Night's Watch, sorry. And there was a sad moment when he left her earlier where she had every chance to shoot and kill him, but she shoots and just wounds him because she loves him. Here's what we know about Jon Snow. He loves Ygritte and she loves him back, and he knows nothing. Which is what she's always telling him, which is so cute.
She tells him that no less than 600 times.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
It was point. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Beep, beep. You know nothing. You know nothing. Can you say it like reggae? Like, yeah, man, you know nothing.
This is staying in. That was gold.
Jon Snow, he knows nothing, and I know nothing about Ygritte's Irish hybrid accent. I don't know.
It is a gorgeous accent, though. Whatever kind of accent it is, stunning.
Number 22, Jon becomes Lord Commander. So in the show, out of just like pure love, I think Jon is elected Lord Commander unwittingly. But in the book, Sam was kind of the little puppet master of that whole ordeal. He pulled the strings really hard to get Jon elected. But either way, Jon becomes Lord Commander, and like all those like old crotchety old Night's Watch dudes who like, fuck those guys. They're all like real pissed and shady about it. But it was a really sweet moment to see Jon rise up because he didn't want it. But then as soon as he got it, he was like, yeah, I'm going to do so much good shit. We're going to get this shit on track, and we're going to be winning.
He's primed to lead. So I was waiting for him, both in the books and the movies, when I was reading and watching, or in the TV show. I was waiting for him to take on a leadership role. So I thought this was very exciting. I was very into it.
Number 23, Benjen returns to save Mira and Bran. So, super way flashback. In the very first episode, you find news of Benjen Stark, who was a ranger for the Night's Watch, going missing out beyond the wall, which is just a thing that happens, and like they just assume he's dead. Nah, bitch, he's not dead, because he comes back like 4 seasons later to help Bran out. Bran's on this whole mission because he's been touched by the three-eyed raven, and he's special, and he's a warg, and he's just got this whole thing going on. And
Morgan, it's warg person.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you need to be more sensitive.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. So, whatever, he's on his mission. He has Mira and Jojen Reed. I think maybe Jojen might be dead at this point. I don't know. But
no, I think Jojen's going hard still.
He might still be there. But so they get in a pickle and they need some help. And out of nowhere steps Benjamin Stark, and he's like, whoopsie, let me save you. And then he just does, and that was like such a magical moment. And it's cool to bring him back around because in the books we assume there's this character called Cold Hands.
I was going to say...
that we assume is Benjamin Stark.
But that hasn't been... Benjamin as Benjamin hasn't shown up in the books, correct? We only have Cold Hands.
Yes, but we assume is Benjamin. And I think he is. And I think to like...
Must be.
I think it was overly complicated probably. And to make it simpler, they were like, and here's Benjamin. And that's all you need to know. Here he is.
Yeah.
Number 24. Dany rides a dragon from the Pit Marine. So Dany is trying to get shit on track with the slave owners, and she's trying to make peace, but she's trying to keep everyone free, and she's trying to build armies, and she's still got her eye on the prize for Westeros, but shit gets out of hand, and there's like this group of people called the Harpies, and they're like killing motherfuckers, and they're trying to take Dany down. So there is a pit fight, which Dany reinstituted pit fights to appease the slave owners and also the slaves, because it was just a part of their culture that she disagreed with and took away. Anyways, they come in to kill her and her people, and she doesn't know what to do. She's gonna die. And then out of nowhere, Drogon, her dragon, she's never ridden the dragons before. And so basically the way the dragons work, she has to pick one. There's only one that she's the rider of. She is not the rider of all of the dragons. She has one dragon. And we always knew she was leaning towards Drogon, but like she'd never ridden him. And he swoops in. He's a big boy now. He ain't a little baby dragon no more. And she gets on his back and just like flies out of there. And this is also momentous because Tyrion makes his appearance around this time. And so he's only just recently met Dany. He went on a pilgrimage after he killed Tywin to be with her and like support her.
He almost got his cock cut off too. Remember that scene?
Oh.
They were going to sell his cock.
Oh shit, girl, because he's tiny little imp.
Yeah, but he said, nuh-uh.
No, girl.
It's a man-sized dick.
Yeah. And so he sees her being taken away on these dragons, and like he believed in her before, kind of, but when he sees this happen, like his resolve and her leadership is solidified. He is on Team Dany.
But you know, I think if instead of reinstating pit fights, Dany had reinstated barbecue pit fights.
Pit masters.
Exactly. See, she wouldn't even have to pull in the dragon.
What if she like misunderstood what kind of pit and
That's why they were mad.
They definitely would have killed her anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, I carried all this sauce to the arena and now I have to fight.
Another thing that we learned during this, Jorah Mormont had been sent away because she found out he was like kind of a traitor, but he didn't mean to be a traitor because he loves her, and then whatever, some shit, and then she sends him away, and then he gets grayscale, but he brings Tyrion to her, right? He's part of the people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's like, look, I did a good thing. And he's trying to win her affection back over. And so now that she's gone, he's just going to stick around because she's not there to be like, be gone.
I think, you know what, you should write a short pamphlet.
A short one?
You should write a short pamphlet about living with grayscale, because you lived with this disfigurement for most of your life.
It is a birthmark.
Oh! I got confused. I'm so embarrassed.
Number 25. Jon Snow was murdered at the hand of the Night's Watch. This was a heart-wrenching moment. So Jon Snow was just trying to be a good Night's Watch commander, just like doing his thing, and they conspired against him.
Including that little
Ollie.
Teenage boy.
Fuck that little kid.
Fuck you.
When he died, I don't care. I'm not sad.
I ain't cry no tears for Ollie.
Ollie. Go back to the orphanage. So, yeah, so they kill him in a season finale epic. That's so sad. And Sam had just gone away to, what's the place where people learn
to become a Meister?
Yeah.
The old pretty city place. Yeah.
Anyway, so Sam's gone, which is like Sam's his biffer. So Sam's not there to be like tragically sad about it. And basically everyone kind of wants him dead, which is terrible. And they just like stab the shit out of him. And then he just like falls in the snow and just like blood. Ugh.
It's a real slow, hateful series of stabs, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that was actually one of my top 5 saddest deaths. Because at that point, we were getting far enough along in the story, I thought maybe he was just dead. Like, you never know, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe they really did just kill him. I was
it
shocked.
It wouldn't be unlike them to be like, this character's dead, even though in the book they're like not, or whatever.
Exactly. So and since it was a season finale, yeah, I was pretty heartbroken because I have to tell you that yes, Theon Greyjoy is my number one, but Jon Snow's a solid number two for me. He's so fucking sexy. Yeah. Oh. Have you seen him in that car commercial?
No.
It's a stupid ass car. It's just him driving with the same face he always has. Like he's not a super expressive actor.
No, but it works as Jon Snow.
It works just fine. It's a hell of a lot better than Orlando Bloom. And Orlando Bloom, if you're listening, I mean to attack you. I'm coming for you, Queen.
But also come on the podcast.
Oh, but yeah, feel free to drop by and sit in my bedroom. Oh, it's my turn. I got confused.
Winning!
I thought we were just laughing. Okay, number 26 is Jon Snow's Resurrection by Melisandre, right?
Now, they do not bring this at the beginning. Oh, so cliffhanger his death. First episode. I don't even know if it was in the first episode. If it was at the very fucking end. So they let you hang on those thoughts that Jon Snow is dead. He looks pretty fucking dead.
Oh, he was. She brought him back to life with her old evil blood fire magic.
Yeah, and she didn't think she succeeded either, right? When she did it, she was like, oh, it failed, and she, like, leaves. But then I think, like, somebody sticks around. I can't remember who. Maybe it was Davos. Davos Seaworth sticks around, and everyone's gone. I think even Ghost left. I think even Ghost was like, bye, Felicia. Oh. And, yeah.
Is Ghost the only direwolf left? No, Arya's is still out and about, right?
Nymeria is Arya's direwolf, and she was released, but we have not seen her again.
I bet she'll come back.
I think so, too.
Because they're the only two left.
Oh, yeah, because they definitely killed Rickon and the other little fucking Stark.
Bran?
Oh, yeah. Yes, theirs are dead.
Yeah, theirs are definitely
is Summer dead? No, Summer's not dead.
Where is Summer, though?
Did Summer go with them beyond the wall? I don't remember. Summer might be alive, but Nymeria is
alive. You're right. Summer is alive. Yeah.
But there's another little Stark, right?
Robb's is definitely
Rickon, and then isn't there another one? No, it's just Bran? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
You're confused because Rickon was there, not there for so long. You're like, how many people is this? Yeah. And then he just got shot in the back. We're not there yet.
Oh, so sad.
Lame ass shit.
Yeah, so anyways, Jon Snow was resurrected, and it was amazing. We both had something to say. I was going to say we get that beautiful shot of Jon Snow's butt shortly after his resurrection. Yes. But I wanted to tell you that I read that was not Jon Snow's butt. He wasn't there for that day of filming when they wanted to shoot that. So somebody from the crew stepped in, and it was a crew member who like closely resembled him from the back, like far as hair, but he had long hair, and they made him cut it for the scene. Shit. And like, how pissed would you be to cut, like, a bunch of your hair just to, like, get a booty shot? But, girl, I was not unhappy.
You know what, though? If I could be Jon Snow's butt stand-in...
That's a pretty good
That
thing.
would go on my resume.
Yeah, that would I
don't care if I'm applying at Walmart or to be a banker. It would be on there. Like, you would know.
I agree.
I have a sort of a larger question for you, though. It is a bit of a tangent, but I think it's important. What role do you think this whole... the red god and what do they call him? The fire god that everyone...
Azor Ahai.
Yeah. What role do you think that god is going to play in the next 2 seasons? Is that one of your theories you're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
we can talk about it later.
I think it's going to play a big role. Because, I mean, Melisandre and the other people, priestesses or priests that have her kind of powers, they're very powerful.
Oh, mega. Yeah.
So, and I have a lot of thoughts about that, but we'll talk about when we get to the theories.
Cool. 27. The Night King and his fucking zombies win, and they stare down Jon Snow. In case you can't tell, Morgan typed these notes up.
Sorry. Yeah, so what happened here is, and this might be out of order a little bit because I wasn't quite sure where that happened, but Jon and some people are fighting beyond the wall, right? And then just people are getting killed left and right by these creepy zombies that the Night King has brought. They're
those
like
skeletal children and
they're
shit.
So creepy. So, and then they're like, fuck it, we're abandoning it, we're running away. Jon Snow makes it to like a boat, but like a lot of his friends don't, like his wildling people and stuff. And then they're like, oh, thank God we made it. And the Night King stands up on the precipice, stares down Jon Snow with his piercing blue eyes, and then he just raises his arms, and all of the dead people raise up and become part of his zombie ass fucking army. What?
It's one of the most epic come at me bros of all time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. One time a guy looked at me like that at a bar.
Was it your dad?
He said, come at me, bro. I'm your dad.
Miss you.
Yeah.
No, but it was really intense, and like, I don't even remember all the sort of details of that battle, but I remember that moment.
I think it's one of the coolest battles from the TV
It's
series.
intense. Oh, and I read a thing, so in the book, there's a Night King, but the Night King in the book, George R.R. Martin has said, is not the same Night King that's in the show. The one in the book is more of like a fictional person of like grandeur, the way you think of like Bran the Builder, the person who like built the wall or something. He's just like part of folklore. But this one in the show is like a different thing that they've come up with, which is like whatever. But
it's like the final boss.
All of this stuff beyond the wall, the people and the Night King and all those, like, all of it's so confusing from the book because it is so different. And also in the book, it's very ambiguous. So I think we're all going to kind of learn together over the next couple seasons.
You know what they decided to keep the same, though, is, what's the name of that? Oh, Craster?
Oh, God.
They kept
Craster
him exactly.
And his wives.
Yeah, his incestuous daughter wives.
Ooh,
They'll keep anything incestuous, they'll keep in.
They do
by
like incest.
The book. Yeah, they're very down for that. Number 28 on most iconic moments of the show, Ramsay kills Roose Bolton and his newborn and so forth.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. That's really all I have to say about that.
I mean, what else can you say? It's one of many atrocities.
It's really indicative of the Bolton family. Like, I don't think anyone was surprised, but it was, ugh.
So number 29... Daenerys the Unburnt, she rounds up all of the calls, and she sets that shit on fire!
She burned that motherfucker to the ground. That was one of my most epic Dany moments. So she gets captured by the Khalasar after, when she rode away with Drogon.
He dropped her off.
He did not take her back. He was like, nah, girl, we're gonna just hang out in these, like, plains for a while. And so she's, like, restless with that and needs to get back to her people and get shit squared away. But instead of doing that, she gets captured by a Khalasar. And they kind of don't know what to do with her. And they don't know she speaks Dothraki. So that was like a surprise for them. And they kind of take her to a council. They round up like all the Khalasars. And they kind of talk about what to do with her. And so she plots a way to like get rid of all of them to get out of here. But she also needs their armies because she wants to storm Westeros. And Jorah Mormont and what's her lover's name?
The one who was played by two different guys
Dario
in the show.
Naharro. Mm-hmm. They kind of come to rescue her, which they should know by now. She doesn't need to be rescued.
Nah, girl, she's the Unburnt.
They kind of help her because she conspires with them to get all the calls in one room, where they kind of talk in that way that horrible men in Game of Thrones do, where they're like, maybe we'll just all rape her, or like, you can have her, or like, we'll just fucking kill her. And she's like, actually, I was thinking I would just fucking kill all of you guys. And she just like tips over fire. Yes. And Jorah and Dario and stuff, have closed all the exits so the calls cannot leave. And she just fucking stares them down and gives them the speech about how like they will bow down to her and like she's the fucking queen, and like she watches them burn. Mm-hmm. And so when the whole thing burns down, all the Khalasars around are just watching it with horrible fear because their leaders are all dead now, and she just emerges from the fire the way that you do when you're Daenerys the Unburnt. Oh my god, it was epic. That's like one of my favorite moments of the whole show, because we'd already seen her do it before. Epic the first time, but you kind of forgot that she could do that.
Yeah, well, she hasn't had many chances to set things on fire and then walk calmly out, but I feel like there are plenty of chances in the future. And you're right, that was so epic. Ugh. Because it showed you like she doesn't need the dragon. No. She doesn't need the army. She doesn't need Mormont. She doesn't need Tyrion. She can figure that shit out on her own. Just with who she is.
It was just so
badass.
Epic.
And then number 30. Oh, this is a really sad one. It was almost on my list of saddest deaths. Yeah. Stannis burns his daughter. What's her name?
Shireen.
She's got grayscale, and she's a sad, sweet little, like, introverted, lonely child. And he burns her in order to get favor and good fortune from old hateful fire god.
Yeah, Azor Ahai or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever they call her these days.
It was really tragic. And then shortly after that, his wife... who, she was kind of horrible anyways, but she hangs herself.
But she from a tree.
Yeah, it was just all around. Big bummer.
Horrible.
Number 31, Melisandre reveals... I'm sorry, I typed this a long time ago, or like 2 days ago. Melisandre reveals that she's...
It was a really good phrase.
Melisandre reveals that she's an old, haggard bitch. That was horrifying.
It is, yeah. Because she's so sexy is what you think.
What is she like? She's like, I'm gonna just take my necklace off and casually set her over here and just like stare in the mirror at the Tales from the Crypt person that I fucking am. Oh my god, I was shocked.
It's as if I took off my necklace and looked like you.
Oh.
That's why it was shocking.
You have this like little skull necklace on, like a bird skull. That would be your necklace of fucking power.
This is my necklace. When I take this off, I look very, very different.
Would you make that necklace a Horcrux?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Melisandre's necklace was a Horcrux for sure.
100%.
Except it was all of her soul, and she set it on her bedside table.
Exactly. No, I never saw that shit coming. I had no inkling that she was a haggard old bitch.
Brand new information. Do you think she was such a haggard old bitch because of the magic it did it to her, or because she's super fucking old? Which one was it? Or both?
Well, now, this is just what I think. I'm not certain if it was addressed, but I always just thought it's because she's old as fuck.
Yeah.
And, like, the magic has kept her alive. But I didn't even think of it. It could totally be the other way.
It was hella fucking creepy.
People, if you know for certain, write in and let us know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or if you can think of funnier words for what she is than haggard old bitch, we're open to all those too.
Haggard old bitch has a certain ring, though.
Number 32, Cersei's Walk of Shame. Now, nobody wants Cersei to get hers more than me and everyone else in the world.
Yeah, we're all everyone
in this
agrees,
together.
Yeah.
So it was bad enough when they cut off all her beautiful hair, and then they make her do that walk of shame, which was, even though you hate her, it was so painful to watch. And that old bitch with her bell.
I was just about to say.
Bell.
Yeah.
Shame.
The way she says it, though,
lady.
she perfectly gets the judgment you need to get as, like, a religious shamer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ugh, I hate her.
It was painful
I was
all
real
around.
happy when she got what was coming to her.
Oh, me too, girl. Mm-hmm. So that was a really intense moment.
It made me feel bad for her. I wouldn't ever have thought I would say it.
It does. It makes you feel for her. And then you remember later, like, oh yeah, no, she's a hella crazy
She's
bitch.
horrible and deserves everything. But she had poopies thrown at her.
It was sad. Number 33, Jon and Sansa reunite. Now, Jon and Sansa were never quite close. I don't think they even ever had a scene together, together
Not just
until
the
this.
two of them. I don't remember it if they did.
They certainly didn't have a relationship.
Like, Jon and Arya had a really good relationship, and Jon and Robb.
But Sansa pretty much fucking hated him.
Yeah, because now, frankly, Catelyn did.
Yeah, she was Catelyn Jr., so.
Exactly.
Yeah. But when they reunite, it's a very sweet reunion, and they kind of resolve to be, like, in it together, and it was really touching. Also, you realize how tall she is when she stands next to Jon Snow, which I really like.
She is. She's a very tall lady.
She is. Yeah. Number 34. Lady Mormont is tiny and fierce, and she is on Jon Snow's side.
Love that bitch.
She is, like...
Love her.
The best leader of, like, any people ever that we ever met. Like, where has she been all our life? I mean, dead, or not born, because she's a tiny baby person.
What is she like? She's, like... 10 years old or something?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's their character's age. I don't know how old.
Oh, amazing. Did they call her, like, the
good.
Little Bear? Cause she's so cute.
I know, she is my favorite sort of, like, minor character in the show. By far.
She gives a very rousing speech later.
And she got a stank face like nobody's business.
Girl.
If I could just steal some of that stank face for when I'm on the public transportation.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
You just channel her. Number 35, The Battle of the Bastards. Ramsay Bolton and Jon Snow. Yes. That was intense and epic, and Jon Snow, like, legit got buried underneath a sea of bodies, and it gave me intense claustrophobia.
Girl, yeah. That happened to me once. I was at Walmart.
Did you do that thing where you try to pull one ball out of, like, the ball pit in the middle, and then they all just, like, fucking fall out? You
exactly.
would.
It was so horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole scene kind of felt like being in Walmart, honestly.
Shade! No, that was a great battle.
Yeah.
Can we just talk... I know we've talked about this before, but I know people will agree with us. They did not make good use of their one and only giant.
No!
They gave that motherfucker, like... what did he have, like a tree? Or like a piece of wood? They couldn't give him... If he'd had a big-ass sword... He could have killed the entire army, by himself.
Could have.
But he was just knocking. No, I mean he did a good job, and he died eventually.
It was really sad, and then Sansa was noticeably absent from the battle because she went behind Jon's back and didn't tell him, which I was pretty pissed about. But she went to get Littlefinger's army, right? Because she's like, this dude wants to fuck me. He'll do whatever. And so she rounds them up. And then basically later he's like trying to get with her. And she's like, she kind of starts to stand up for herself, which is good, which we'll get to that a little bit. The Battle of the Bastards was epic, and it was happening simultaneously with another battle that we're gonna maybe talk about. I don't know if I put it on the list. But at the same time, Dany is having a battle across the seas.
Oh, the boats, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like she's getting the boats. Anyways, and so it's that whole end of the season was super epic and just really great, and you didn't know how it was gonna end. And I think it was really intense. And I read that it was one of the hardest episodes they've ever filmed because they used so many real life people. They didn't do a ton of CGI, and it was just like really hard and grueling days of filming. And it shows. I mean, it was great.
It was, you know what it reminds me of is the Two Towers and the Battle for Helm's Deep.
Yes.
Like there's a darkness that's similar and like a desperation. I loved it. I think, though there are lots of beautiful / horrifying battles in Game of Thrones, that's been my favorite so far.
And then it goes in our favor. We lose a lot of people. It was very sad. Jon wins.
Among others.
Yeah, but Jon wins, which is great. And that brings us to our next thing.
So this is one of my... In fact, I think it is my number one most satisfying death.
So great.
After they kick his ass on the battlefield, and then Jon kicks his ass with his fists, Sansa kills Ramsay with his own hounds, which is amazing.
We have had some Sansa shade. In fact, an insult that Mick has legit thrown at me in like the past, like a couple years ago, was when he was mad at me. He said, "Girl, you're being such a Sansa," and I was legit offended about it.
Because, I don't remember that, but I can see why that would cut.
Because Sansa is so just like that annoying, stupid, bitchy child that doesn't deserve to keep living when better people than her die all around her. And sure, horrible things happen to her, like. For one, she got married off to Ramsay Bolton and was like raped and beaten. And just that was horrible. Yeah. So you feel bad for her, but a lot of times also like you're just over it. You don't care about her. She's annoying, and she gets this look in her eyes, and she becomes a different person from Battle of the Bastards on. Like she gets her resolve, and her watching him die at the hands of his hounds that he purposefully starved. So satisfying.
That little smile, just smirk. It's like just a little satisfied smirk. You know, I think that the first couple seasons, I just didn't like Sansa.
Yeah, she's the fucking worst.
Well, and her life was super hard, but of course, whose isn't in Westeros? But the actress, her voice had it hit a certain pitch that I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. I can't handle you. But I have to say, I am super satisfied with how hardcore she has become.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited about her storyline forward. Yeah.
Moi aussi.
Yeah. And I'm excited if she and Arya get back together because before they did not have a good relationship, but now they're in this place where I think that, like, they need each other and they could, like, legit be a power team. Oh, yeah. They both hard as fuck now. Yes. So, from one of the most satisfying deaths to one of the most heartbreaking, one of my top 5 saddest deaths. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hodor. So sad. It's so sad. I almost just cried now, actually. I went in too deep to think. I was thinking about that episode. I cry a lot in Game of Thrones, but
Well, you cry a lot generally.
I do. You
have a lot of feelings. I wish we could just make a cake. No. I'll have a piece. Yeah. She doesn't even go here.
But yeah, that was brutal, and especially for Bran, because Bran and Hodor are so intertwined. You cannot have one without the other. So sad for Bran to find out that like it's his own fuck up that like kind of damaged Hodor, and then also Hodor died to save him later. Just all around 100% tragic, and I just so sad. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I just got chills. Yeah. I have nothing to say except it was heartbreaking to me. It was great. Because Hodor, I guess I do have more to say. Oh, look, surprise. Hodor's like so innocent. Like because he is so innocent, because he has been literally brain damaged by all of Bran's time travel crazy bullshit, he's probably the best person on the show because he's an innocent, sweet man.
So loyal.
Yeah, so his death was, it was super sad.
In real life, the actor who plays Hodor is actually like a pretty hardcore DJ, which is interesting. If you have not heard that or seen him, I recommend you check that out.
He's playing in my living room later tonight.
That would be actually pretty cool.
Chicka Hodor. So number 38, Cersei blows up the Sept of Baelor, and also our sweet Marjorie Tyrell, and also Marjorie's brother Loras, and also the High Sparrow, and also like a bajillion other people. And then because of that, the last surviving incest child, Sweet Potato Tommen.
Oh, he is such a potato.
He's a little potato. He steps out of a window and kills himself.
And I watched this episode with friends, so they can attest to this. When he did that, I was like, eh. But, like, it was very sad, but also at the same time, I was like, whatever, he's gone, that's fine. My biggest emotion with this episode is that Marjorie Tyrell died.
Me too. Well, and Loras too. Less so, because he was less cool. I cared
that Loras died, but when I realized that Marjorie was gonna die, I was on the edge of my seat, and I was like yelling, and I was distraught.
She was scheming, girl.
I love a good scheme.
She was gonna make it work for her.
And I love Marjorie Tyrell.
I love Marjorie Tyrell too.
Oh my god, she's like one of my top 5 characters.
So
probably.
Smart, so beautiful, best fam, loves her brother, regardless of the fact that he's gay.
Cersei, schemes to take that bitch down.
Right? Is able to pretend to be religious. Sound familiar? We've been there. Yeah, it was like, I just loved her. I loved her. And I also screamed when the Sept blew up. I literally screamed at the TV.
Like, as much as we hate Cersei, it was kind of satisfying to see her watch her scheme paying off. She was just like sipping her wine from her like tower window.
Oh yeah, with those like she got those new chains on her new black like breastplate. Fierce. Oh my god.
And also, frankly, so happy to see the High Sparrow go, because that whole storyline was really fucking horrible. I mean, like, I get it, and it was good, and we got a lot out of it, but not sad that he's dead for sure.
No, well, there wasn't room for another big power player like that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have time for religion in this world right now, at least not another religion, because we already got like 6 going on. So. Yes. And then, so a bunch of deaths all at once. Mm-hmm. By the way, Marjorie and Loras dying is definitely one of my top 5 most heartbreaking deaths. That was so sad. Ugh. Number 39. Dany finally fucking sells to Westeros!
We have been building this up for so long. This has been like her goal since Viserys died, pretty much.
Yes, it's literally way before the story actually began. Yeah. As we watched it, this has been her one and only goal. So very exciting.
Epic. And dragons flying overhead, just like beautiful music playing her along.
Boats as fuck. So many boats.
Oh, so many. She's got all her peeps at her side. I mean, she's on a fucking mission. She's got Tyrion. I think she's unstoppable. I cannot wait to see what happens.
Who do you think is going to be her biggest fight when she gets to Westeros? Oh, you know what? We'll probably cover that in theories, won't we?
Well,
should we wait on that?
No, I didn't talk about it at all. But here's what I think. So I think she's not going to sell directly to Westeros. I think she's going to sell to Dorne, because because Varys is with her now. But previously we saw Varys and Dorne gaining favor, and so and she's got like the Greyjoys on. She's been making all these alliances, right? And so I think she's gonna sell to Dorne, pick up the Sand Snakes and some more like army people, and then they're gonna hit not King's Landing, but they're gonna maybe hit from the other side, and then
like where the Lannister castle is.
Yeah, maybe
like the west side and march across. That would make sense.
Yeah, or they might go straight at King's Landing. I don't know. I think that with her dragons, that like no matter which direction she hits them from, they're going to be her first line of defense. And so either way, she's heading towards fucking victory.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's her biggest obstacle. I assume King's Landing, because...
I guess Cersei. Yeah. Or Cersei. Cersei is a town in Arkansas.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, girl. I forgot about that.
I think that's why I say it that way. It's wrong.
Number 40, Bran's visions of the Tower of Joy. So we spent pretty much the whole last season on and off seeing Bran's visions of the future and the past, kind of, and just a bunch of other weird time travel shit happening. And so Bran's coming into his own. He's basically the three-eyed raven at this point. Like, he's got this gift. And we keep catching these flashbacks that are leading towards what was the biggest fan theory ever. R plus L equals J, which we'll get to more when we get further down. But anyways, so we get all these flashbacks of the Tower of Joy, which was when Ned Stark went with a group of men to try and go retrieve Lyanna Stark from the clutches of Rhaegar Targaryen. And so just basically the culmination of all his visions was epic, and we learn that Bran can affect time in the past because a Hodor, obviously, but because he speaks out at a young Ned Stark and Ned Stark hears him. So,
can we talk about how crazy ass looking young Ned Stark is?
Oh, you weren't into it? He was real weird looking.
Crazy to
okay.
Me. I mean, I'm not coming for this actor. You know, but yeah, I don't know. His face weird shaped. It's shaped like a gardening implement or something.
I cannot pull it up in my mind.
You look it up later, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't really understand how he grew up to be Ned Stark.
Well,
I mean, it's hard. I tried to get them to cast me, but they said, you're too old and gay. I said, fuck you!
That's probably fair.
Yeah, that's truth.
Number 41, the coup in Dorne. Okay, so take us to Dorne. The Sand Snakes are there. They're all up in arms over the shit that happened with Prince Oberyn. He got his fucking skull crushed. Yeah. And then the prince... or / king that's in Dorne, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he's all haggard and in a wheelchair. In the show, he's all right looking. In the book, he's like morbidly obese and decrepit and like on his deathbed already. But anyways, the Sand Snakes, they're not having the way that he's rolling. He is not making the decisions that
Those
they
are
want.
the three sisters of Oberyn.
They are his lovers, aren't they?
Oh, shit, I don't know, girl.
You know what?
I was always confused by Dorne.
In the books,
consistently confused.
In the books, I thought the Sand Snakes were all the lovers of Prince Oberyn, and they were kind of like his little harem, and they called themselves the Sand Snakes. But in the show, you know what? Maybe one's his daughter, and one's his sister, and one's his lover. I don't fucking know.
Probably has sex with all of them. I mean, it's Westeros.
It's this group of like beautiful ass women who are like fierce as fuck. And they don't want Myrcella to live. And Myrcella is Cersei's daughter, who is in Dorne because she's betrothed to the king's son, Oberyn's brother, I guess. I don't know. Anyways,
His
they want
name's
her...
Doberon.
Dobie. They want her dead. They want Cersei dead. They want everyone to pay for Oberyn's death, which I get. They want vengeance.
Seems fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So... Jaime comes to rescue Myrcella because Cersei doesn't think she's safe, which she was right. That doesn't happen in the book, but whatever. So he comes to collect her, and then they don't kill her, supposedly, and then she departs with him, but actually they poisoned her, and so
with a kiss.
Oh, with a kiss. And during this emotional confession where they come to the realization that they both know that Jaime is her father. Oh my god, I'm so glad we're gonna be together. She like gets blood coming out of every orifice. Oops, she was poisoned and she dies. So the Sand Snakes kill her, they kill the king, and they're like, we're gonna run this shit. Like they are done with him, and then they meet up with Varys, or like you see him and they're like conspiring, and so you know some good shit's going down. So that was epic.
Do you remember there's a character in Bulgariad who's a eunuch who is bald, who is very like Varys? Yeah. I forget his name, but I loved that character too. I'm always so down for a eunuch with a bald head and a bunch of secrets.
I agree. Number 42, Asha and Dany make an alliance. So Asha Greyjoy bails on the Kingsmoot and all that bullshit that's happening in the Iron Islands, and she's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm the queen of fucking the Iron Islands, and she takes her people and their boats. She takes all the boats, and she leaves. And she goes straight to Dany, and she's like, she throws some mad game out at Dany, which I thought was really fun.
It was hot.
I really liked it. And Dany liked it too.
She was into it.
She was like, all right, girl.
How could you not be?
So that was a really cute and like great exchange that happened. But basically they form an alliance, and so Dany's army is just growing. So that was an epic moment to see like two queens come together.
And Theon Greyjoy just kind of in the corner.
Yeah, he's skulking, but you know, what can he do? He got his dick cut off.
I mean... he's still sexy, though.
Once again, we're going to go to therapy about this.
He's so pretty. I don't see why you don't see it. Ugh, he's so sexy.
I don't even know.
At least you know we won't fight over him.
Well, definitely you can have him, girl. Number 43, The Hound Returns. Dun da da da. You thought that motherfucker was dead.
I did. His leg was broken.
Yeah, and some other stuff. So he kind of resurfaces as this like good Samaritan in a town, and then his town is like unsurreptitiously murdered.
Just, killed for no reason.
And he remembers who he is, and he's like, all right, let's go kill some motherfuckers. And then he joins back up, I think, with like the Band of Brothers or whatever they were called, those people.
The Brotherhood Without Banners?
Yes, those guys. Yeah, that's totally them. So he joins up with them, and so I'm really excited to see where that storyline goes.
I am too. Can I just tell you, I always confuse in my head the Brotherhood Without Banners and Doctors Without Borders. Every single time I get confused.
Number 44, we find out that Jon's mother is in fact Lyanna Stark. Oh, this is the fan theory that we had all been waiting to get the answer to. So this is R plus L equals J. Rhaegar Targaryen plus Lyanna Stark equals Jon Snow. So the culmination of the Tower of Joy sequences, we find out that Ned Stark does find Lyanna. She's dying in childbirth. She has this baby, and she whispers some things to him that we don't know everything. I think we're going to find out more later. But basically, he takes this baby, and to save him from Robert Baratheon killing the baby because he is a Targaryen, he's like, no, I had sex with this other girl, and we had a baby, and now I'm going to take him home, which starts his whole kind of feud with Catelyn, who, like, is just disdainfully rude to Jon Snow his whole life. Yeah, we find out Jon is a Targaryen.
Why do you think it's a huge moment?
Huge.
I don't mean to downplay that. So Catelyn never knew.
No,
correct?
she thought
he had sex with another woman. So why do you think he didn't even tell Catelyn? Because she was so loyal to him. I feel like that would have been a better move in the long run. I guess he was careful. That was part of his personality. Very careful.
Because he's so loyal even to Lyanna that like he didn't want to tell no one. You know, he's so intrinsically loyal, which is why for so long before I even knew this was a fan theory, was like, that's not Ned's baby. Like, he would never cheat on Catelyn.
Yeah,
he would never do that.
Oh, it was deeply
he's
obvious.
Not that person.
Yeah,
but I was very excited when I found in the blogosphere this theory that ignited my fire for fan theories. So this was an epic moment, and now that we know that Jon is a Targaryen, this changes the trajectory of Dany's whole situation, because she is not alone. So she has this person who possibly will be a dragon rider. Like, we need to get him and Dany together immediately. I need to know what is happening. Exactly. I'm so excited.
Because he's the only person right now in Westeros that I feel like really has the ethical backing to be, you know, like, as far as readers and watchers, like, we want him to rule.
Yes.
Right? He also has tons of followers. He's got tons of weird abilities and has had kind of like a hero's journey in a similar way.
Support of the North. Like, he could really be a uniting force for Dany.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm super excited for that. And then, I know this isn't on the list, but I just wanted to add a quick 45. Big moment for me. Arya comes back to Westeros.
She found her name.
In like 2 seconds somehow. She found her name.
Yeah. The timing of everything that happened in the last couple episodes, just forget about that. Yeah,
it's all bonkers. It's been said, but I do want to point out, that's crazy.
Yeah, that shit
She ran real fast. Yeah. She swam. And she finally kills fucking Lord Frey, or whatever his name is.
I hate him. Mr. Filch from Harry Potter.
Exactly, yeah. He deserved to die, and it was great the way she killed him. She cooked his son's thumbs into a pie and then stabbed his ass.
Yeah,
so I was very pleased to see that.
Also satisfying just to see her coming back to the person we knew she was. But she learned so much on her little side journey that, like, she is a force.
Oh, yeah. She is like a legitimate assassin at this point.
Yeah, so very excited about all of that. So that's pretty much the top things that happened in the show. Like, this is where we're at. We have a lot of things to look forward to. Now, there were a couple differences from the book to the show. A lot of notable ones. Some kind of that you just take, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But did you want to take us through a list of some of the differences?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I've pulled together what I thought were the most interesting top 10 differences between the TV series and the book series. And they're in no particular order, okay? So, number one, actually, this is a particular order because this is the thing I was most upset about. But just this one. This is the only part
this is your particular. Number one.
I'm really bummed that Catelyn Stark is not coming back as Lady Stoneheart in the TV series as she does in the books.
Well, to be fair, she hasn't done so far, but we don't know what they're going to do.
That's true. I guess they still could.
I was disappointed by that as well.
Because that's so, in the book, she's the only... Am I lying here? Well, except, I guess for maybe Jon Snow, who's like half a Stark. She's the only Stark that gets to come back, and she comes back as this, like, demonic,
that's so creepy.
Yeah, she's like a zombie-type person. Her cheeks are all scratched up. So I'm bummed that she's not coming back. I miss her. Number 2, someone else who's missing from the TV series. I'm not certain how to say his name. Aegon Targaryen?
Yeah. So I definitely wrote this down. I said, where the fuck is Aegon Targaryen? Okay, so in the books, for those who only watch the show and do not read the books, when Tyrion is making his way to Dany, one of his companions he hooks up with and picks up along the way is another person looking for Dany, and it is Aegon Targaryen, who was one of the babies that you thought got their heads bashed in by the mountain, but he was secretly swapped out for some commoner's baby, so just some commoner's baby got murdered, and he went on to live in secret and has spent his whole life, his whole 16 years or whatever, because in the book they're younger, learning to become this Targaryen king, which he's a little cocky, actually, in my opinion, in the book, because he thinks like Dany should be so lucky that he would come to her, but girl, please, if he, no, like...
That seems to be the curse of the Targaryen men. They're real sure of themselves.
They think they're important, yeah, but he's just fucking absent, and in the book... There's like this 3 heads of the dragon theory or whatever that's foretold that there's going to be 3 riders. And of course you assume he's going to be one of them. Noticeably absent from the TV show.
Yeah, I guess actually I don't mind that he's not in the TV show
just crazy.
Because he's a complication. But yeah, it's so huge because I feel
like
he must be important to how the book series is going to end.
Yeah, well, when I read that in A Dance with Dragons, I think it literally blew my mind.
Yeah.
I had it was
on that fucking boat with Tyrion. I was like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Okay, so that's a huge difference. Third sort of largest difference is Loras Tyrell in the books is never imprisoned for being gay. That doesn't even come up at all. And in fact, we were talking about this earlier, but it's not really as obvious that he is gay.
Yeah, I don't really know what they were doing with that storyline except pulling the emotional heartstrings of Marjorie.
I think so. Well, and I think, you know what, maybe I'm wrong and I'm just seeing what I want to see, but I think they were also kind of throwing in a little bit of, like, modern day, like, this is wrong, like, don't do this, you're treating this guy really unfairly, and now you're blown up.
Yeah, and that's how that goes.
Don't put me in prison, that's not a threat. Okay, number 4, Brienne never finds or fights the Hound in the books, which is huge, because that's a great fight in the TV show. Yeah. Yes.
It was some old other fucking nobodies that, like,
old
got in a fight with.
Blue Bow the eyeshadow man.
And I get why they did it, though, because it ties...
Voodoo the poetry
It ties
dreamer.
Arya's story back in better with, like, what's going on in the kind of main storyline. It just kind of brings it full circle. So I get it, but yeah, you're right.
I love that fight, too, because it's so dirty. She gets him right in the nuts.
Yes.
5th big difference. Jaime legitimately rapes Cersei at Joffrey's funeral in the TV show. Yeah. In the books, She at first is like, no, but then she's like, okay. Yeah. But in the TV show, it's legitimate rape. No, it's pretty black and white.
People were really upset about that.
Well, as I think they should be, frankly, because there is plenty of rape in this show already, specifically of women.
Yes.
So I thought I thought that was just the wrong decision, personally. Also, Jaime has been trying so hard to be a better person, and then because he is with his sister, who everyone agrees is evil, he decides to be as disgusting as possible. Like, I'm not into it. 6th big difference. We actually mentioned this earlier, but I thought it was a huge difference. When Joffrey dies in the books, he literally rips out his own throat. He opens his throat because he can't breathe, and he pulls it apart, and that's how he dies, which is even more horrible than the way he dies otherwise. Which I think is knowable because I think Martin was trying to give him the most, like, unimpressive, disgusting, pathetic death possible. Yeah. And he gave it to him. 7th big difference. This is kind of large, actually. In the books, Littlefinger is still a schemer. He's still a manipulator. But he's actually better at it because people actually like him in the book still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's better at playing the game, I would say, in the books.
This is a little admission I'm going to make. I kind of like Littlefinger.
I like him too.
No, but I like him.
Oh!
I don't know. He's very like... He has, like, obviously a certain charm, and I know he's a horrible person, and maybe it's because of I know Littlefinger in the book that he's even more kind of charming and scheming. I love a good scheme, but I don't know. I really fucking like him, and like, if something bad happens to him, which it will, I'm gonna be kind of bummed about it.
So your Littlefinger is my Theon Greyjoy.
Oh, I guess so.
Because I do not... I mean, he's like a good-looking man. I'm not...
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I'm just like drawn to him. It's like I know he's a bad person and like he's like attractive, but he's not like super sexy, you know. But like
there's just
I don't know, girl. He's very magnetic for me.
Mm-hmm. I totally get it because that's exactly how Theon is for me.
Ugh.
Cool. Well, that's interesting. I did not know that about you. 8th big difference in the TV show. There is, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, only one bastard of Robert Baratheon, and that's Gendry.
Gendry.
Yeah,
I wrote on I have like a stray observations. Where the fuck is Gendry? Like,
yeah, because he was in for a while.
Yeah,
and he just dropped out.
And his story was very different in the TV show than it was in the book. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on with that. But yeah, Gendry. I mean, I think they talked about him having lots of other bastards, but they were all fucking nobodies except for Gendry.
Well, there was one guy who was kind of important. You might remember if I was saying Edric Storm.
Oh yeah,
he actually has like a storyline of sorts,
right.
But they kind of merged the two bastards together.
Yeah.
But there were even others, I thought, in the books that just never came to anything. But
yeah, there's so many fucking people.
Yeah. 9th big difference. This is a large difference. Sansa Stark never marries Ramsay Bolton in the books. Like, no. He still has a wife who he thinks is Arya, but it's actually it's fake Arya, and he still treats her abominably. Like, he's still a monster. But Sansa's not the one who has to live through that torture.
No,
right?
I think in the book, don't we kind of leave her off with she's in the Vale with Littlefinger, and he thinks he's got her wrapped around his Littlefinger. But basically, he's trying to get married to Sansa is really his end game. Like, he wants to be with her. But I think she's betrothed to the little one, the little fucking annoying fucker.
Oh, little Prince Suckatitty?
Yeah, in the book, they're betrothed, I think, like they're engaged or whatever. But I get why they did that too, to give Sansa's storyline more power. So,
and it is very powerful. Mm-hmm. And also, we don't need this other, like, fake Arya. I mean, I guess we could have gone there, but again, complications. And then, last big difference, this is something I didn't remember when I was doing my research. In the books, the waif is not this, like, Terminator monster that she is in the TV show. Like, she's Arya's friend, actually. And she doesn't ever, like, attack her the way the waif does in the TV show.
But to be honest, I can't remember where we left Arya in the book, so I'm not sure if, like, maybe it would have gone in that direction. But yeah, that storyline I hear from people and the internet and also from myself is, like, one of the most confusing parts of Game of Thrones because it's so distant from what's happening in Westeros, but also what's happening for Dany. It's really out there, and it's so magical and, like, intrinsically sci-fi in its happenings that it's so hard to follow. Yeah, she was hella fucking creepy in the show and a real bitch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, hardcore, scary lady.
Yeah, so there's a lot of other differences that we're really not going to get into, but those are definitely some of the big ones. I had a couple stray observations, just things that I wanted to talk about that I like. Number one, Littlefinger and Varys, frenemies. We've already said it, but they're the best frenemies ever, and without them, the story would be a worse place because they're amazing. They're like, I love them. They're like one of my best relationships in the show.
Oh my god, amazing.
Dany really hard puts Jorah Mormont in the friend zone. If you did not know what the friend zone is, just think of the way that she treats Jorah Mormont, and you will suddenly understand. She keeps him there so hard. He loves her. And a big difference that happens in the show and in the book, he courts her way harder. Like, he kisses her and he proposes to her. But in the show, it's more of he's a very standoffish admirer. Like, he obviously loves her, but she keeps him in check a lot better in the show. I love him, and I want her to forgive him and hug him and bring him into her circle.
There was a time when I definitely kind of shipped the two of, like, early in the series, the book series. I was like, well, this could be kind of a... I figured they would fall in love.
You almost want them to be together.
And he would die somehow.
Yeah.
That's why I thought would happen. But yeah, I think they would be a cute couple.
One other stray observation is Arya had a friend in the beginning named Hot Pie. And I fucking loved it.
Hot Pie?
Do you remember Hot Pie?
Now that you say his name, or her name, their name.
It's a boy.
I do remember Hot Pie. Doesn't Hot Pie get killed by
They got
someone?
kidnapped. You remember way back, I don't even know if it was in the show,
Hot
but in
Pie.
the books, Arya got kidnapped and she was like a little prisoner.
Uh-huh.
And somebody she got kidnapped with was Hot Pie. And she was always like trying to get Hot Pie to rise up so they could break out. And he was like, I just want to be a little baker. I just want to sell hot pies.
That's why they call me Hot Pie. Poor guy.
That's really it. I just like never forget Hot Pie. Never.
So now, we have covered the top 5 saddest deaths and the top 5 most satisfying deaths. But I have one more top 5 list for you, Morgie. Can you guess what it's about?
Men.
Good guess. That's what I care about. Death and sexy men.
Yes.
Those are my 2 obsessions. So, some of these men we've already mentioned. You know Theon Greyjoy is my number 1.
Yeah, once again, we're going to talk about this offline.
Okay, I want to hear your top 5 as well, just for the record. You better start
I'll work
preparing
on
your
that.
brain, okay? My second hottest, I said, is Jon Snow. Third hottest is Robb Stark. So we mentioned all these people. Fourth hottest, we didn't specifically talk about, but I would break Khal Drogo off a little piece.
Oh, girl. He is too fly.
He very sexy. And after he, rapes me initially, he'll be very sweet. So that's, something to look forward to.
My moon and stars.
Exactly. I want to be your moon and stars. Well, not yours, but Khal Drogo's.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then my fifth hottest, we haven't mentioned this, but I do think that Jaime Lannister is quite fuckable. I mean, I think he's really beautiful. Only when he's clean shaven, though.
Yeah.
I am
No,
not
he's not a good
down
scraggly
for him
person.
beardy. No, not at all.
I always prefer a, kind of scraggly looking man to a very clean cut man, but you're right about Jaime Lannister. He does not pull it off.
It is not a good look for him. It makes him look so old. And then my special mention is Tyrion Lannister, because I think he has the sexiest mind. And actually, he's got a fair amount of swag. And I've never really considered having sex with a man of smaller stature. Smaller stature. I've never considered having sex with a man of smaller stature, but I tell you what, if he's got that personality, I'm down. I am down. Also, He says he has a normal sized dick, so I'm down ×2.
Yeah, girl. Well, I have not had a chance to prepare my top 5 list, so we'll talk about it offline, or maybe I'll throw it in the next time we talk about Game of Thrones.
Ooh, okay, sounds good.
What I did bring to the table for you today, which I know you love almost as much as I do, fan theories.
Oh, Lord, bring it to us.
There are literally an endless number of fan theories out there. So what I did for you is I culled my top 12 fan theories, things that I think could actually fucking happen. And then I have a secondary list that we won't go in detail about, but I'll just tell you the second tier of top 12 fan theories. Okay. So 24 in total, but we're only going to really talk about 12.
Okay.
So, famously, R plus L equals J was confirmed in season 6, which I was super pumped about. Mm-hmm. So here's the next ones that I think are probably plausible.
Okay.
Tyrion Targaryen. Are you with me? I
am, but I'm confused.
This idea is rooted in the fact that the Mad King Aerys possibly raped Joanna Lannister, because in the books, I don't know if you remember, but he had a thing for her. It was widely known that she was gorgeous, and he had a thing for her, and also Tywin fucking hated him. So if he were to have raped Joanna, it would be a whole nother level of why he hates Tyrion so much, right? Because he rapes her, she gets pregnant with Tyrion. Not only is he this deformed little dwarf disappointment, she dies in childbirth, and then he's stuck with this little fucking Targaryen baby that he never wanted in the first place. All right?
It could be. It could be. I don't know.
Number 2, Missandei is a faceless man. Does that one pull at your heartstrings?
Wait, which one's Missandei?
She's Dany's right-hand woman.
Oh.
We don't know much about her. She was just a little slave and Dany rescued her.
That
so
could be.
this is rooted in, if you remember the Faceless Men, they are these people that Arya was trying to become, and they're harborers of death. They bring death, they keep death. She could be this, like, horrible turncoat that's just sitting there waiting to, like, fucking turn on Dany. And that, it like, makes me anxious to just think about it. But I think it's such an interesting theory. And the people think that she could be because she has, like, these crazy array of language skills. Like, she can speak every fucking language. She's nearly always consistent in her tone of voice. Like, she doesn't have a big range of emotion, right? She's very, like, flat in one level. And those are all things that happen with the Faceless Men. They're all very, like, calm and collected and, like, multilingual and can do it all.
I had never even considered that. Girl,
Number
plots
3.
on plots.
This one's probably definitely happening. Or this is, like, probably the most prominent one. Jon Snow is Azor Ahai, also known as the Warrior of Light, also known as the Prince that was promised. Right? So this is kind of where we think we've been going. And Melisandre all along has been like, it's that person. No, it's Stannis. And now she's like, no, it's Jon. But I really think, and people think, she's probably actually landed it with Jon Snow. Because the way the prophecy reads is basically that it's the Azor Ahai is going to be reborn in salt and smoke. And so Dany also fits the build because she has been reborn in fire, salt and smoke. And then also Jon fits the build because he was born in the Tower of Joy amidst, like, war and fire and whatever. So anyways, he fits a lot of the bills for what the prophecy is. So we might see the next coming of that. Number 4. Cersei, the Mad Queen. I see this one 100% happening.
Yeah, it's already
So she's
starting.
got no children left to protect, and with the war looming from Daenerys, it's pretty inevitable that Cersei's going to continue to go down her little path of being a fucking psycho.
She has literally nothing left to stop her
nothing.
from just burning the world. Yeah.
I kind of hope that happens. It's going to be epic. Which brings me to number 5. Jaime will kill Cersei.
I think that's going to happen too.
So way back in the day, Cersei visited that witch who gave her the prophecy. And I think the prophecy was like, a queen will come in that's younger than, more beautiful than you, and cast you down, Marjorie Tyrell. After which she would be killed by the Valonqar. Yeah, that one. Which translates to the little brother. So, for a long time, you thought it could have been Tyrion, because he's the little brother, but actually Cersei was born first, so Jaime is technically her little brother. And also, that'll probably happen because he's the fucking Kingslayer. He's known for regicide, but also because it just makes sense. Like, when you see him come back and he sees where Cersei's at, and he really has nothing left, too. Yeah. He's gonna have to be the one to take her down.
It makes sense thematically and for their characters. Like, I felt like when I saw him come in, just look at her. That was the very end of the last episode, right? Much. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be killing her. Yeah.
Number 6, Bran made the Mad King mad. So we know that Bran can go back and affect time, and they can hear him. He made Hodor mad just by talking to him. So what if he was the whole fucking reason to set off this horrible series of events? I think
why would he do that?
I think he would do it accidentally.
He made a big mistake.
Well, like, the theory is he goes back and, like, perhaps the Mad King hears his whispers, and through his whispers, he becomes, like, clinically insane or whatever. But I think it would be really moving for that to be, because poor Bran, he just wants to do right, but he just keeps fucking shit up, and he has too much power, and he doesn't know what to do with it.
Well, you know, with great power comes the loss of your legs.
Well, in his case.
Yeah, I mean, you know. Yeah.
Number 7. Arya will become Lady Stoneheart. Go with me on a journey here.
Okay.
So perhaps they're not bringing back Catelyn as Lady Stoneheart, but now that the Hound has hooked up with the Bannerless brothers, or where the fuck they are, Arya is back in Westeros now, and she's free to do whatever she wants. So maybe they'll merge their storylines together, and she will come back, because Lady Stoneheart was the leader of those brothers without banners. So maybe Arya will come back and kind of fulfill that role, and maybe it'll look a little different than it did in the book. But that would be interesting. Number 8. Bran travels to the past and is Bran the Builder. So Bran famously was named after Bran the Builder. So there's this whole fucking theory out there that Bran goes back in time, which he can do, and has to be the person to set off the building of the wall because, like, nobody's gonna fucking do it, and without the wall, there's fucking chaos. Mm-hmm. And so Bran goes back in time and is his own fucking namesake, which is kind of baller. And we talked about briefly, I didn't put this on the list, but this is a theory that I've read, and like, that inside the wall, the magic that keeps the wall together is that there's a dragon embedded inside of it, like an ice dragon.
I love that. I hope that that's true. I want there to be an ice dragon. I want that to be true.
And I don't really know what that would look like 100%, but I think it's a really interesting theory, and I hope it happens. Mm-hmm. Number 9, Sansa is pregnant with Ramsay Bolton's child. She says to Jon, I can feel what he did in my body standing here right now. So she can feel his abuse. She's been raped. She's got some trauma. Maybe she also has a little fucking Ramsay Bolton baby in there.
Oh my God, I hope not. Ugh.
Yeah, that would be terrible. But that would be, I mean, I could see that flushing out with the story. Mm-hmm. Number 10, Clegane Bowl. Have you heard about this one? Mm-mm. So the Hound is still alive. So it's Clegane versus Clegane. The Hound versus the Mountain. That would be an epic battle.
I think that does need to happen.
Yeah. So hashtag Clegane Bowl for all you people out there. Number 11. Bran will accidentally let the White Walkers through the wall. I 100% think this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because, so there's this line of thought, right? So when the Night King touched Bran in his dream, you remember when that happened? Mm-hmm. He was up at the Three-Eyed Raven's cave or whatever, and it made it so that the White Walkers could pass through that barrier in the cave. That's how Hodor fucking died. He had to hold the door because all their, like, zombie people came through. So because he touched him and he broke that magic, what other magic did he break?
Oh, shit.
Can they get through the wall now? I think they can. I think this is how it happens. And then, once again, it's just a sad thing that Bran fucking did, and he didn't mean to.
That's, you know what, though? I can't even blame. It's not like how we can hate on Frodo in Lord of the Rings. Bran is so he hardly has any teacher, and he has so much power. Yeah. And what's that raven, the Three-Eyed Raven? Mm-hmm. That guy's he's not very helpful.
Taught him nothing, really.
No. I mean, essentially, so it's like, I'm not even mad at Bran, but that does suck if that's the case.
Number 12. Varys has been pulling the strings since the beginning and is the puppet master of Westeros. Varys is the one who set up Khaleesi's marriage to Khal Drogo. Mm-hmm. He's the reason that ever fucking happened. Varys is the one who whispered into the Khal's ear about killing Viserys so that Dany could be the queen so that they could rule over Westeros.
That's true.
Varys is the one who got the dragon eggs to Dany in the first place. He's always there whispering in someone's ear. He's in Dorne whispering in the Sand Snake's ear. Then he shows up in Meereen. He's the one who got Tyrion out of captivity. He's the fucking puppet master.
Do you think he could be a faceless?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because that would explain, like, he is so good at blending in and getting information, like, figuring shit out. That would be a nice twist. I'm
really interested to see where his story goes.
We've never seen him kill anyone, though, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So those were my top 12 fan theories. There's a billion out there. Let me just read through you the titles of some of the other ones, and perhaps you choose to look them up on your own. Other notable fan theories. Number 1, Jon Snow and Sansa Stark are going to get married.
Yuck.
Number 2, Mira Reed is Jon Snow's twin sister, a la Luke and Leia. Number 3, Littlefinger will marry Cersei. Number 4, Jorah is going to go find that masked lady from Karth and get his grayscale fixed. Number 5, Lady Stoneheart is coming in the form of Catelyn Stark. Number 6, Sam is the one who will figure out how to beat the White Walkers. That makes sense because he reads all the books.
Yeah, that's hardly a theory. I think that's obvious.
Number 7, dragon glass is not obsidian that you find. It's actually pooped out by the dragons. Number 8, there's a dragon living under Winterfell. Side note, because they famously have these hot springs that feed their castle so they're never cold.
Yes, that's true.
Number 9, zombie Gregor Clegane has the head of King Joffrey. Because you don't see his face, it's covered up. Ugh. And he had to get all zombie put back together, so it could have been Joffrey's head.
Oh, gross. I'm going to freak the fuck out.
Number 10, Lord Varys is a merman. I'm not going to give you any more on that. I recommend you Google that one.
I've heard that ridiculous theory. Didn't you try to make the case for that theory to me?
Well, I think it's totally plausible.
Oh my God, you're insane.
Number 11, Quaithe is a time traveler and possibly also Daenerys. Quaithe is the lady from That fucking house of fucking crazy people where Dani finds out. She's like a masked woman. So the theory is that she's masked because she's Dani from the future coming back to tell her what her path looks like.
Could be.
Number 12. Game of Thrones is just a story being told by Samwell Tarly to his child.
It better not be that. If the last scene is Samuel being like, and that's it, Sonny.
I agree.
It was all just a story.
I'd not be super happy about that.
No, that's bullshit.
So, but I love a fan theory, so I'm on board with all that shit. A thing I neglected to tell you at the beginning was the ratings, just to see how they match up with our ratings.
Oh, sure.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, seasons 1 through 6 have gotten 95% cumulative, which is really good.
That's amazing.
People fucking love it. Goodreads books number 1 through 5 are at a 4.63 out of 5. So universally fucking loved.
So interesting to me that even with book 4 being like such a letdown, it still has such a high score.
Yeah,
I honestly
cumulative. Yeah, I think probably book 4 is like everyone's like no.
Probably the lowest. That's interesting.
So that's how people feel. That's how I feel. I think it's really great. I'm so excited now that we're in a place where we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
So here's some second opinions I culled from the internet. Some 1-star reviews. 1 star. Worst ever. But if you love total garbage, you might like. Which is just some fucking shade. Game of groans. That's all it says.
Oh my god. What does that even mean?
I don't fucking know. 1 star. I hated this mean-spirited show so much. I wish I could completely erase it from my memory. Well, that's their opinion, I guess.
It is mean, but it's not meaner than, say, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a much meaner show, or Seinfeld, which is much meaner.
I guess so, yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
1 star. If you have a conscience and scruples, don't watch this show. I don't even know what that means.
I got scruples.
Yeah, scruples.
That's why I call my sex toy.
That was the title. The rest of the review reads, their author by name says, by my own opinion. I may be the only person on the planet, but predictable, soft porn, pointless violence. Hated this show that is so popular. I will say a lot of the reviews that harp on like, why is there so much just like gratuitous sex? I get why they have beef with that. And yeah, there probably is a little bit too much of that. But for me, because I love the story, like, it's okay.
I think it's about giving people what they want, and people frankly want sex.
Yeah, they do.
But I totally agree with you. That sex isn't always necessary.
I think you'll really like this 1-star review. The title is Good Acting and... That's not a sentence. By L. Miller. Visually appealing, good acting, and despite the complex plots and number of characters, easy to follow, very entertaining. 1 star? I think they liked it.
Oh, I think she messed it up, girl.
I think she fucked it up.
That poor baby. It's her first time.
Okay, I'll just read a couple more. 1 star. What is it with Hollywood only finding feminine heroines interesting? What?
That person is delusional.
Wait, what? They think the story is bad because there's too many strong females in it?
That's so ridiculous.
That is a non-reason. This person is a Trump supporter, 100%. And also, what's their name? Their name is D. Whiteside.
Well, there you go. It would
fucking be.
There you go.
D. Whiteside, go fuck yourself.
Yep. You are not fuckable, but you are fuck-offable.
So, D-White, while you're out there fucking yourself, go fuck yourself again.
Yeah, just don't stop. Go until you're sick of it.
Don't stop the feeling, go fuck yourself. All right. So, did you have any more stray observations? Let's wrap up our Game of Thrones talk and move into the game portion.
Well, okay, so I have 2 questions for you, okay? And they're just random questions I'd love to hear your opinion on. The first is, will the remaining Starks survive winter?
Well, winter is coming,
it is coming.
You know.
Yes.
The remaining Starks, we got Jon, technically.
Jon.
Arya, Sansa. Is that it?
And Bran.
I think Bran's gonna die.
You think Bran's gonna die?
I do.
Really? Oh, okay.
I think he's gonna fuck it up so bad that somehow he has to sacrifice himself to make it right.
Really? I thought he was gonna become like the new, like the 4-eyed raven. Like a raven with glasses.
I don't know. I want them all to live. I vote yes. What do you think?
You think they're all gonna live? I think there's a good chance that Jon Snow will die.
Yeah, maybe he will.
I think both Arya and Sansa are safe, and Bran, I just have no idea. Bran's story is so confusing me. To be honest, it's like my least favorite storyline.
I'm gonna cry.
It's too much for me.
A lot if Jon Snow dies, if/when.
Because I think, not that I'm like all about Whiteside's opinion, but I do think that in the end, this is going to be decided by the women. And I feel like Arya and Sansa are going to like take control.
Yeah.
That's what I would be so down for that. Okay, so that was my first switch. Another little question though. Who do you find to be the most impressive actors?
Oh.
Not characters,
yeah.
pure acting ability. Because there's so many good actors.
Oh, shit. Now I feel like I'm on the spot, because what if I say someone you think is terrible? I'm going to just go for it. I think Cersei's really good.
Oh, I do too. Yes. Oh, I forget her name. Oh.
Lena Headey.
Yes, you're amazing. Yes, I think she's amazing.
Tyrion Lannister.
Yep. Peter Dinklage. He's one of my top
He wins
two.
awards consistently because he's incredible.
He's won 2 daytime Emmys, I think.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah. Or primetime.
Who else? You name a couple.
That teeth clacking sound scared me, Morgan. You're a fucking White Walker.
Yeah, it's
I think Michelle Fairley, who played Catelyn Stark, I think she's very, very strong.
You know, Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys, she's not really an incredible actress at all, but I think Dany is like the role she is meant to play. Because I've seen her in other stuff and she's considerably worse. But as Dany, like, I can't get enough of her. She's not like super great, but I love her.
She is, because she gives me a little bit of Legolas. Orlando Bloom is like, but you know what? It's okay. I don't dislike.
It's because her blonde wig.
I mean, they have very similar hair and makeup.
Yes. Their look is very similar.
But it's about that, like, I'm so, like, above it all that I never really have emotions. But she does. She gets emotional here and there. It's different.
Oh,
but
you know, I think
feel.
Jorah Mormont, I don't know the actor's name at all. I think he's a great actor.
He is good. Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, I think Varys and Littlefinger are both incredible.
I think Littlefinger especially. Varys is good, but he doesn't have to show as much range, I don't think. Littlefinger is fabulous, yeah.
Oh, you know I like him.
I do wonder if he couldn't bring some more charisma to that role, though, because he isn't as likable in the TV series as he is in the book, and I wonder if any of that has to do with the actor or if it's all the writing. I haven't decided. I don't know for certain. But.
I think Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark, is really good, especially for being like, you know, a kid actor, but she's really grown into her part a lot.
Absolutely.
And she plays like a evil, devious little girl.
Oh, yeah. And she was good from the beginning, I thought. She was quite strong. Mm-hmm.
Who else? Who do you like?
We could talk about who I don't like acting-wise. We want to be Shay for a second. And there's people I still love, but guy who plays Jon Snow.
Yeah, Kit Harington.
Face. Yeah, I like him, but
he's not very good, but like,
very
really, you could just mute it because it's just all about that look. Baby.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got that hair. The woman who plays Sansa.
Yeah, and she was in X-Men recently, like the newest one, and she was.
Oh shit!
She's
that
Jean
was
Grey.
Her. Yeah,
I forgot. She's not very good in that either. I mean, that movie wasn't very good in my opinion, but I like her though. But you're right, she's not very good.
Yeah, I'm not really blown away by her. And honestly, off the top of my head, well, actually, I don't know about Bran either. To be honest, I feel like I'm just shooting everybody down, but I feel like he has 2 or 3 faces that he cycles between.
It's safe to say most of the main characters are not fantastic actors.
I don't know if it's safe, girl. People might come to your house and burn it down.
I mean, most of the strong actors are more secondary characters. Like Littlefinger is not. I mean, he's kind of a main character, but he's not like.
Peter Dinklage is like. Kind of like
right, sure. Besides him, he's the best in the main cast. I would say.
Oh, I think so. Personally, yeah.
They're not like the best actors, but like. It works. Like, it really fucking works.
Yeah. It all blends together and works really well. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad to have heard your opinion on that, Morgie.
Girl.
So, Morgie, I have this very exciting game for you that we've never played before, okay? I made it up. It's a completely new creation of mine. It's called Wed, Bed, or Thread.
It sounds so, like, vaguely familiar, but yes.
I don't know why you would think that.
Okay.
I have no idea. Whatever tree you're barking up, it's the wrong one.
Let's give it a little go.
So I'll give you the name of 3 characters from Game of Thrones. And I want to know who you would wed, as in marry, who you would bed, as in fuck, And who you would thread, as in thread your sword into their hearts.
Which works because Arya calls her sword Needle.
100%.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
All right, so trio number 1. Varys, Littlefinger, Grandmeister Pycelle.
Okay, so Varys, Littlefinger, Grandmeister Pycelle, who is a dirty man who like
He's
does
gross.
like I know it's weird to think like could I even fuck Varys because like no, but also like fuck Grandmaster Pycelle. He's dead. I'm killing him. I'm gonna thread
Strong
him.
choice.
Threaded. Yeah. Done. And you know how I feel about Littlefinger, but it's so hard to choose which thing to do. So I guess I'm going to have to fuck Littlefinger because Varys is not going to get me there unless other methods. Yeah, okay. So we're going to fuck Littlefinger. I mean, we're going to bed him, which is the civil time period way to say it.
It's a new
I'm going
thing I
to
made
bed
up.
him, and then I'm going to marry Varys because we could just be scheming mean girls for the rest of our life, and he has all those little birds to tell me other little secrets.
Absolutely. Yeah, see, when I made that trio, I didn't know you had a wet pussy for Littlefinger.
I don't know. I like him.
I know
now
you
I can't quit smiling when I think about it.
Oh my god! You're smitten. Okay.
I am.
Get ready for this next trio. I think it's going to be a little bit harder for you. Wed, bed, and thread. Ramsay Bolton, Viserys, Joffrey.
This is hard.
It's
Ramsay.
Mm-hmm.
What was the second one?
Viserys. How do you say his name?
I don't know. Viserys is fine. Ramsay, Viserys,
And Joffrey.
and Joffrey. Ramsay, Viserys, and Joffrey. Okay. This is a no-win situation. What if, okay, so I'm gonna kill Ramsay Bolton because I can't do it.
Interesting.
Wed. I'm gonna bed Viserys because, like, you can choke through one thing, like, one time, like anything.
And
yeah.
he might, I don't know, just to fuck.
He might let me, like, be really domineering. He might be into
might
that.
like
so
that
I
in
might
bed.
just, like, get
I
over
could see
really
that.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put a bag on his little face.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, draw Danny's face. And then I'm going to... Wait, what was the first thing I said?
Okay, so you have said that you're going to thread Ramsay.
Oh, yeah, fuck
You're going
him.
to bed Viserys, and that means you're going to wed Joffrey? Are you cray-cray?
Now hear me out here. I get to be a queen in some scenario that he's still alive. At least for a little while.
That's true.
And then maybe I could, like, be a Marjorie and, like, fucking, like, kill his ass.
That's fair.
And then, like, find a different level of power. So I stand by that.
Okay, that's strong. That's strong. And I think I would probably do the exact same thing because I would want to fuck Ramsay, but I'm afraid he will hurt me.
Him. I hate him.
Yeah, I'm afraid he hurt me even for like 10 minutes in bed. I'm scared of him.
He's scary.
Yeah. Okay, last trio. This is going to be hard in a different way, I do believe. Wed, bed, or thread. Dany, Marjorie, Cersei.
Okay. I'm going to wed Dany because I just want to I want to absorb that power forever.
Yeah, you've been her for Halloween like 16 times.
I love her. She's amazing.
She's awesome. Yeah.
I want to bed Marjorie because she's got those bedroom eyes.
She does too. Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm going to thread Cersei. Like, be done with her. She's dead.
Yeah. That's it. See, I put in Cersei because I thought, I don't know, she seems like she would be good in bed, so I feel like that's
I'm sure she is.
A little tempting.
But she'll only give it to Jaime. She's never going to give me
that's
anything
true.
good.
Yeah, she'll be all a dry mummy muff for you.
So, I forgot about Mummy Muff.
It's in the Urban Dictionary. We added it.
No.
Uh-huh.
No.
Look it up.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, queen.
Mummy Muff. Okay, so this might be surprising for you, but I came up with my own wed, bed, and threads.
What?
It's so unlike me.
Oh my god, how'd you know?
So some of these are quite similar to what you've done, but go with me on a journey here.
Okay. I'm journeying with you.
Wed, bed, or thread. Stannis Baratheon, Bronn, and Ramsay Bolton.
Okay. Stannis, Ramsay, and who's the second?
Bronn, like, Tyrion's friend.
Oh, okay. The sellsword.
Yes.
Okay. I would... Oh, I'm gonna have to... I'm gonna bed Ramsay Bolton, but he's tied down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the only thing, so he can't hurt me.
Okay.
I do still think he's fuckable. And I'm going to have to thread Stannis because he's so boring. He looks like he smells like mothballs.
I hear you, girl.
And I'm definitely going to wed... What's his name?
Bronn.
Yeah, I keep forgetting my love's name. Because I feel like he's a legit guy. Like, I really like him as a character. I think he'd be a good husband.
Okay, good call.
Thanks, man.
All right. Wed, bed, or thread? Dany, Marjorie, or Melisandre?
Oh, so wait, now is this Melisandre with her jewelry on?
always with her jewelry
okay,
on.
So no old haggard bitches. Okay, I would wed Marjorie because I just love her.
Yeah,
I just absolutely love her.
Great.
And I would bed Dany because I mean, look at her. And I would thread that old haggard bitch.
Yeah.
Because she don't fool me.
She terrifies.
She don't fool me.
Okay. Wed, better thread? Maester Pycelle, Maester Aemon, or Samwise Tarly? Wait, did I just give him a name from Game of Thrones?
I don't know.
He's just Sam Tarly.
Sam Tarly. Samwise. They are kind of similar characters in their way, though. Mm-hmm. Who's the second Maester? I don't remember.
Maester Aemon. He's from the Night's Watch.
Oh, yeah,
the old guy, the Targaryen.
Oh, Jesus. Well, Christ. I'm going to wed Sam.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's great. You know, I'm going to bed Maester Aemon. That's his name.
Yes.
Because I feel like I liked him, okay? And then I'm definitely going to thread Grandmaster Pycelle because he's so gross.
He is the worst. He's like the epitome of King's Landing.
Yeah, he's an ick nasty. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with one more.
Okay, I'm excited.
Wed, bed, and thread. Tywin Lannister. Roose Bolton, that's the dad. Robert Baratheon.
I shall be... Roose is not as bad as... But he's still not good. No, I shall be threading Roose Bolton. Because he's not as bad, but he's still not a winner. And I shall be betting Tywin Lannister. Because frankly, he's a good-looking man.
Yeah, he's pretty attractive for an old guy.
Yeah, you know, he's not bad. And then I would definitely wed Robert Baratheon. Because we would not have a marriage like him and Cersei. We would have a good marriage. I would let him go hunting and drinking, fuck all the ladies he wants. And all I do is sit around pretty dresses. And I'm fine with that. I ain't messed up.
I like it. I hear you.
Yeah.
Let me take you on a journey very quickly for another game.
Okay.
Which I have called... Which one?
Oh.
Which one?
Which one?
Which one?
Which one?
Which one? I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to give you two choices. You're going to tell me which one you would pick and why.
Okie dokies. I'm prepared.
You're on trial for murder, and you've requested trial by combat. Two people have volunteered to battle on your behalf. Khal Drogo or Jaime Lannister. Which one?
Oh, gosh. Quick question. Is this Jaime Lannister with both hands or with one fake-ass hand?
With both hands.
With both hands. Jaime Lannister.
Okay.
Khal Drogo's a beast, but Jaime Lannister is skilled as fuck.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You have recently murdered your way to the top. You've become king. Yeah, just like me. And you have to select only one advisor to be on your side. Two candidates have emerged. Tyrion Lannister and Varys. Which one?
Ooh, that's difficile. Varys, because I love Tyrion. I want him part of my court. I give him anything he wants to stay around. But Varys, he that motherfucker knows shit, and I want him to be my main guy.
You own a local restaurant, and you're seeking a general manager to ensure your culture is upheld and that things run smoothly. You've narrowed it down to two choices. You have Missandei and Grey Worm. Which one do you choose?
That's so funny because you had to tell me who both of these people are. I'm going to choose Missandei on the idea or the hope and suspicion that she might be a faceless and therefore she would be great at essentially any job on
fair.
Earth. Mm-hmm. Though, would I get to fuck Grey Worm if he's my general manager guy?
He's a eunuch.
Oh, I forgot. I could still fuck him. I could still fuck him.
Oh, that's true. I guess. Yeah, well, sure.
Maybe
Why
he'd
not?
be into it.
Whatever.
We'll have to ask.
You are a mean girl. You're in the process of selecting the new queen bee of your group. There are two candidates, the Queen of Thorns and Daenerys Targaryen. Which one?
Girl, this might be shocking to you, but it is no contest. Queen of Thorns, up, down, sideways, left, and right. I love that bitch. We haven't talked about her at all. She is one of my favorite characters.
So fierce.
She's definitely in the top three. I love
her.
I live for her.
I knew you would.
I love Dany, but Queen of Thorns, left, right, up, down,
you
diagonal.
Have all the way. You have a large family. Many of your siblings are annoying, but you deal with it. A witch has granted you a magical wish that will make one sibling disappear forever. You've narrowed it down to Joffrey or Sansa. Which one?
They are both deeply annoying, but most certainly Joffrey, because Sansa is irritating, but I think at heart she is good, and Joffrey is fucking evil.
That is so true. That's a good choice.
Goodbye.
You're pegged to be the next star on Westeros' top soap opera, As the Wall Falls. You're screen testing 2 love interests. Khal Drogo or Jon Snow? Which one?
Definitely Jon Snow. He's much more of a soap opera star. I love Khal Drogo, but Jon Snow's higher on my list of men.
Okay.
I mean, just
that's fair.
Period.
You have been secretly getting love notes from Stark Manor. You're unsure of which boy they're coming from. You suspect it is either Jon Snow or Robb Stark. Which one do you hope for it to actually be? Which one?
Now, this is interesting. I have to think deeply because we're talking about...
You have to think
I have to think deeply. We're talking about
which
real
boy you want love
romance
notes
here.
from.
Yeah. This is important shit, girl. You know what? I think I'm going to say Robb because... No, I take it back. I'm going to say Jon because I think if we're going to have like an actual lifelong romance that starts via love letter, I feel like Jon would be the better husband of the two because Robb, he's a little impetuous. I feel like he would cheat on me. Yeah, he's so beautiful, but...
Yeah, Jon would be loyal.
Yeah, Jon's like, he's in it to win it.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Freaky Friday situation, and you have to body swap with the person nearest to you for 1 whole year.
Oh, shit.
Within arm's reach are both Daenerys Targaryen and Marjorie Tyrell. Which one do you pick?
Ooh, I'm gonna pick Dany in this case because I love Marjorie, but Dany is such a striking, freakish alien beauty with perfect tits. I mean, absolutely perfect. Yeah. She's so gorgeous. I would want to look like her. Marjorie's a peach too, though. For the record.
I like that. It's Halloween, and you're getting ready to go to a graveyard with all of your friends. Who's going to be your spooky graveyard buddy? Is it Melisandre or Ghost the Direwolf?
I don't trust Melisandre any further than I can throw her old saggy ass. So, Melisandre ain't going nowhere with me. It's definitely going to be Ghost the Direwolf.
He'd be fun to
he'd keep me safe.
Explore with.
Yeah, I'll ride him maybe. He's big as fuck.
Okay. You have been tasked with gathering the most gossip of the kingdom. You get one partner in crime to make it all happen. Who do you choose? Varys or Littlefinger? Which one?
I was thinking... Which one? Which one? I was thinking Varys, but now you've really kind of raised the stakes.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know what? I haven't given Littlefinger any love, and just to be an equitable person playing this game, I'm going to say Littlefinger, because he knows a lot too.
How noble of you.
Oh my god, I'm a good person. Like Hodor.
Hodor. You are a famous pop star on tour for the first time. You need a head of security. The 2 applicants are Brienne of Tarth and Arya Stark. Which one?
Arya Stark. Because we live in a very dangerous world.
It's very dangerous.
People sneaky. And Brienne's really good when it's just like straight up fight with fists. But you saw what happened to Renly. Oh, she's not prepared for no sneak.
Nah, that's true.
No cyber warfare, but Arya got me on lock.
All right, 2 more. You've been given the gift of absorption. You can now absorb the insight of one person. You have in your line of sight to choose from Arya Stark or Bran Stark. Which one? Their insight. Who's
so
insight?
Do I get to do everything they can do?
Yes, essentially, like you take on either one of their insight/abilities.
Oh, so do I want to be a little nature wizard, time traveler man, or do I want to be like
You're
a fierce
wizard,
as
Bran.
hell? He's a wizard. You're a wizard. Oh, you just did that. I'm sorry.
You're a wizard.
Shut up. Or do I want to be an I'm going to be Bran. I want to be Bran. I want to absorb Bran's insight.
Okay.
Because
that's a lot of responsibility, girl.
It is a lot of responsibility, but see, Arya, all she's really learned is how to kill, honestly. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And I don't really know if I want that to be like my skill set. You know what I mean?
Last one.
Oh, I'm excited. This was good.
You're on a dating game, and your contestants have been narrowed down to 2 choices. A young Ned Stark or a young Rhaegar Targaryen. Which one?
Bachelor number 1.
You're going to take a young Ned Stark?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he's crazy looking, the Targaryens, except for Dany, I don't play with them. I don't trust them. They're crazy. They're wrong. They think they're the shit. They are beautiful. Mm-hmm. But Ned Stark would treat me right. Especially if I got in there before he met Catelyn. Fuck yes.
Yeah, girl. He's very loyal too.
He'll take me to the
okay,
bank.
Okay.
That northern bank.
Right.
All right, Morgan, we have played so many of your games. Now let's play a game that I invented.
Okay, your invention. Let us hear it.
Yes, this is my invention. It's called 2 Facts and 1 Alternative Fact.
Oh, girl, don't you know it?
Also known as 2 Truths and a Lie. Now, I have to admit to you, Morgie, that this is going to be easy for you because some of these lies/other things came out like during this conversation. So I kind of failed.
Well, that's okay.
I tried it, but I didn't know.
I'll feign ignorance.
Oh, that should be really hard for you.
You're such a bitch.
And you're such
a beauty.
A bitch. You're a bitch. Okay. 2 facts and a lie. First possibility. When I was watching this show, I watched 1 whole season out of continuity. Like 1 whole season, I just didn't watch and then watched later.
Oh, okay.
Number 2, I had a crush on Ramsay Bolton at first. Number 3, I stopped reading the book series with only a quarter of the 5th book to go.
Oh shit, you didn't do that, did you? Oh my god. What about, is the first one not true? No, the third one's not. The third one's not true. The third one's not true.
Was that your final answer?
Yeah, the third one's not true.
Oh, you're really good at feigning ignorance. Really, really good, Morgan.
Wait.
So, in fact, I didn't. I just never read the last quarter of the 5th book.
Wait, what?
So, that was true. I stopped reading with just a quarter of the 5th book to
Maybe
go.
you did. Maybe you even just said that an hour ago, and I super don't remember.
No, that's a sneaky thing. I didn't say how much.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And
You know, Sarah didn't read the last book. I think she gave up.
It was that 4th book, man. It killed it for me.
Yeah, girl, I hear you.
You know about the crush on that went away very quickly. I want to be very clear.
I mean, he's a pretty person.
He's a good-looking man outside the show. But then that season I skipped. The lie is that I've just never seen that season.
Wait, which season was it?
It's the one that includes, I think it ends with the big fight with the White Walkers. Oh. I've seen it now, like, on YouTube, like, chunks, but I've never gone back and watched it. Girl, I don't matter. I'm fine.
You know what's happening, yeah.
Yeah, I read it in the books.
Oh, good. That was good. Okay.
Thank you. I got Trixie.
So mine are themed, they're all things about Game of Thrones, so that we'll learn a little something.
I love it.
Okay, so 2 of these are true, and 1 of these is untrue. According to a study covered by Time magazine, there is no way that the mountain could have enough strength to crush the skull of Prince Oberon, the Viper, when he did that at the end of the battle. So they did a study and they said, not possible.
That sounds like that's true, but go ahead.
The real-life equivalent of Valyrian steel is an alloy called Damascus steel, and Valyrian steel was based upon it.
I think that is very true based on my classical knowledge.
Game of Thrones, the television show, single-handedly saved a farm that specializes in a rare breed of pigs, and the farm is the Gracie Farm, and the breed is Iron Age pigs, and they are specific to the time period, and so they were going to go out of business, and Game of Thrones single-handedly said, no, we want all your pigs, and save them.
Okay, based on the elaborateness of number 3, I'm a finger that as the lie. I'm a little finger that as the lie.
Little finger?
I'm a little finger that.
Well, you might be horrified to learn that the lie is, in fact, that the mountain could crush the skull of a person like Prince Oberon. Okay. Time magazine did a study and found that it would only take 520 pounds of force, conceivably, to crush a man's skull, and a person the size of the mountain with as much as he works out could conceivably do that.
That's horrifying. So I could just be walking down the street, someone could grab me by the eyeballs and crush my skull.
We can only hope, girl.
If he looks like them. You hateful!
So, that's horrifying and makes me kind of sad, but do you want to talk about some other things that bring you joy or make you unhappy? What are you happy?
You know, Maureen, I would like to talk about that. Let's have a little bit of intensive group therapy here.
Okay, girl.
I am happy because I have the entire next week off from work. Do you know? Woohoo, yes. But do you know why I took that week off? Do you have any guess?
Because you're working on other stuff?
Exactly, because I'm trying to finish my book, which I've been working on for years and years and years since I was 3 years old. Practically, or like 5 years.
He's a prodigy.
I am. I was a genius child. See what happened. But I'm also sad about this, right? I've got all this time. Well, a week is not that much time, but the book's almost finished. But I'm also sad / scared / petrified because it's like I've been working on I've been sitting on this egg for a hot minute. And when I crack that egg open and start to show people, that egg might be rotten.
No,
maybe dead chicken fall out.
Your egg will not be rotten. It's going to be a beautiful fucking swan.
Aw,
and I know it's so hard when you work on something to like share it with. I hear you, girl. I hear you.
People so stupid.
That's
not the reason. Well, thank you for your empathy. Yeah, so I'm happy I have the time, but I'm also petrified, frankly, because the time of waiting is at the end, and now I have to take my book to Sauron and throw it into the volcano.
Oh, girl, and I hope you're not a golem and you get too happy and you fall over and
I
you
might
die.
Do that. I clutch my book to my chest, be so happy.
Well, one thing that I'm happy about is that we have a new season of Game of Thrones coming back this year.
Amen.
And it's not coming until the summer, but we have so much to learn because we have not read. So it's all going to be brand new information. So I'm very happy about that. But you know what I'm mad about, girl?
Oh, girl, why your eyes started to twitch. Why are you so mad?
I'm not even sad this week.
Oh.
I am upset.
Okay.
I am mad that George R.R. Martin will not get his shit together and finish the fucking series. And now the show has overtaken the books. And so it would be fine, but I have already invested all of this time and energy into the shithole that was book number 4. First of all, I fucking read the whole fucking thing. And then I got to book 5, which was great. And then what? Fucking cliffhangers. And now I have to sit around with this old tired skank ass just rolling in the fucking money and like wait for HBO to take 3 fucking years to tell me how the story ends. And then on top of that, I have to get an HBO subscription just to watch the goddamn thing. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
stand
mad.
up. You know what, girl? I saw a video today. It would have made your blood boil.
Ooh.
It was George R.R. Martin.
You better not be on vacation.
Girl, he was doing the ALS challenge. He was getting ice water poured all over his head. He was beside a pool.
He gonna have a heart attack.
Well, that's what I said. I said, first of all, not healthy. Second of all, how you gonna write when you soak him wet, George R.R. Martin?
He's gonna get pneumonia.
Girl,
fall down.
I was so mad at him. He actually fell into the pool after. I was like, you need to be more careful, sir.
He has all those things happen all at once.
You know, he hates when we do talk about his
various
deaths.
He actually threw shade at the end, I think, of book 4 or book 5. One of the books at the end, he had an epilogue, and the epilogue was like, listen, I know you're fucking mad, and yeah, I didn't put any of your favorite characters in that book, but like, fucking deal with it. He seriously, he was like, get the fuck over it. I'm the author. And you know, on one page, I hear him on that, but on the other page, fuck you, George R.R. Martin.
But you know when he brings that book out, you'll buy that book. So it's not really hate. It's just love bites. Just love taps.
Yeah. So
your tiny wolf fist.
Speaking of other things you can bite at,
I'd
like to throw some plugs at you guys. So this was one episode about the Game of Thrones. There are podcasts and podcasts and podcasts dedicated just to Game of Thrones. I would like to plug one that I've listened to before called A Cast of Kings. It's a Game of Thrones podcast. You can find it on your podcast app. Basically, I haven't listened to it very much, but it's a pretty good, like, they catch you up on, like, it's basically the Talking Dead for Game of Thrones, but then they do a bunch of other, like, in-depth stuff. Like, they are, like, Game of Thrones scholars, much more so than we are. So if you want to know more, do that. I'd also like to plug this movie in the spirit of awards season. This movie called Sing Street, which you can watch on Netflix. It was nominated for a Golden Globe, but I don't think it got nominated for any Oscars. But it's an Irish movie, and it is so beautiful and heartwarming. And one of the people in the movie is our very own Peter Baelish. Littlefinger is in Sing Street. Granted, he plays a horrible, terrible person, and he's in it briefly. But he's in it, so it's a connection, and I recommend it. If you have Netflix, go watch it immediately if you want to just, like, smile until you can't smile anymore.
So, so if you want to die from Joker venom, please go watch this movie immediately.
You can also follow me personally at Morgandolph. If you guys want to check out some... Mickey's making a terrible face. If you want to follow our Instagram and our Twitter, you can catch us at B&Bcast. Like our Facebook page, search us out, Beauty and the Bitch. If you want to reach out to us directly, we're beautyandthebpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on our website, bnbcast.wordpress.com. And you know what? If you're subscribing to us in your podcast app, thank you so much. Please go in and give us a 5-star rating if you have time.
Please do that. Yeah.
We would appreciate it.
It
If
matters.
you're not subscribing, you're just listening on the website, please subscribe to us. It really helps us out, and it makes the show more accessible to you, and it just gets us out there.
Yes, and if you would like to reach Morgan by phone, you can reach her at...
No. Girl, you know I don't have a voicemail, and I will not call you back.
But you might just call 512-SAD-SLUT.
Oh my God.
And see what happens. Just see what happens. Just see what 512-SAD-SLUT.
Oh my God.
Is that... Wouldn't that be funny if that was actually your number? If that worked out to be your
I wonder
number?
if I can get that number. That's amazing.
That's smart.
Side story.
Yes.
I'll check that out.
Yes. So I have a quick little sort of recommendation. We'll plug this week as well. I have just purchased and am halfway through reading the new Neil Gaiman book. Norse mythology.
Oh, I saw. Oh, that's so great. Do you have like a paper copy? Can I borrow it later?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, it's a hardback, actually, because I'm rich now.
Probably also because it's only out in hardback.
Yes, exactly. That's why, and I would never have bought it if I had a choice. But it's really good. I do highly recommend it. If you ever read Norse mythology as a child, much of it is going to be familiar to you, but he puts it together in a way that is very much Gaiman. But also, I'd never realized, back when I used to read a lot of mythology, that much of Norse mythology has just been lost to time. Like, there are so many stories that we no longer have. The way Gaiman described it, it's as if we lost all of Greek and Roman mythology, except for, like, Hercules and Theseus. Like, a tiny amount is what we have. Yeah, so he is sort of filling in some cracks. I'm sure he's, like, just making some stuff up, but it's a really... thorough examination of the world of Norse mythology, and I feel like I've learned a fair amount, or at least seen things in a different light. So I highly recommend it. Of course, I would recommend, Gaiman taking a shit. Like, I'm so into him.
He's so amazing.
I'm very obsessed. And if you would like to reach me, I would love for you to add me on Facebook. My account is Mick Parker, Parker. I have nothing to hide, so go look at sad pictures of me and Morgie in high school. It is worth the look.
It is probably. Yeah. Content Club!
We are very excited to talk about Neil Gaiman's Stardust next week. It is a book and a movie that we both personally enjoy very much, though I think we have slightly differing opinions on this.
We'll have to see next week.
We'll have to pull that out to the fore. So if you have not yet read that book, it's very short.
So short. Or
watched that movie, it's extremely watchable.
It's so good. It's one of my go-to feel-good movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I like hardcore gay porn.
You would.
Please do take in some of that content so that we won't be spoiling absolutely everything for you next week.
All right. Thank you for joining in to talk all things Game of Thrones. We will pick up our Game of Thrones conversation probably at the end of the next season. So something to look forward to, BBs.
Have a good night, BB.
Bye-bye.
We love you.
Mwah.
More than your mom.